Chapter 4797, The Little Black Bird's Reminder Sword Intent? Even though these people looked down on people who used weapons, they still knew how difficult it was to comprehend sword intent. This Yunchujo had actually comprehended sword intent? Lan Luocheng frowned slightly. He did not expect that Yunchujo had actually comprehended sword intent. Humph, even so, sword intent could not stop the spirit tiger shark for long. She was definitely going to lose. Sure enough, the spiritual tiger shark had broken through the sword intent in just a few breaths. Lan Dimeo couldn't help but shake his head. If this little trash's spiritual power level was a little higher, perhaps the sword intent's effect would be a little stronger. The current defensive strength was basically useless. However, just as he was thinking, he was stunned to find that the spiritual tiger shark was blocked by another layer of barrier. He was so shocked that his mouth was wide open. Could it be that this little trash had comprehended two sword intents? That's not right. Even if he had comprehended two sword intents, it was impossible to stack them together. Even Lan Dimeo was so confused, not to mention the others. They were all looking at the competition on the stage in a daze. Lan Luocheng's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect that Yunchujo had actually comprehended two sword intents. Initially, he wanted to tease her, but now it seemed that it was better to end the battle as soon as possible. After all, he still had to fight Lan Luomu. Therefore, he leaped forward and joined the battle. He did not believe that Yunchujo could fight against three people alone. Yunchujo secretly complained in her heart. Although she still had a layer of sword intent barrier, it was still too difficult for her to win against Lan Luocheng. Unfortunately, she was not allowed to use talismans and poison, or else he would not die. This guy had no choice but to hold the sword in his right hand and shoot out several small purple needles in his left hand towards Lan Luocheng and his two spiritual beasts. Lan Luocheng knew that these small purple needles would explode, so he used his palm wind to send them flying. Moreover, his two spiritual beasts also used their claws to send the small purple needles flying. Lan Luocheng's eyes flashed with malice as he slapped towards Yunchujia's front heart. However, his palm wind was blocked by a layer of barrier. This time, not only was Lan Luocheng and the others stunned, even the old ancestor was shocked. This little girl had actually comprehended three types of sword intent, and she could even stack them. It seemed that other than her mouth, she still had some real ability. Lan Luocheng never thought that Yunchujo actually had another trick up her sleeve. He snorted coldly and stepped up his attack. Not to mention 3 layers of sword intent stacked together, even if 4 layers of sword intent stacked together, she was still not his match. Lan Luocheng's arrogance was not without reason. As time passed, Yunchujo was somewhat unable to withstand it. After all, there was a huge difference in the level of their spiritual power. Moreover, even if the spiritual beast was dispersed, Lan Luocheng could completely reappear. It was only because Yunchujia's physical strength and spiritual power were different from ordinary people. Otherwise, she would not have been able to hold on for long. If the old ancestor had not mentioned the conditions, He Xingjiu would have admitted defeat long ago. But now, she had to win this round no matter what. What should she do? How about using a large kitchen knife to try? However, she was also afraid that the large kitchen knife's abnormality would attract unnecessary trouble. She was really worried to death. At this moment, Xiao Hanio inside the spirit beast bag said, "Master, I'll curse him. Seize the time to take him down." Hearing this, Yunchujo secretly cursed herself for being so stupid that she had forgotten about Xiao He. Hence, Yunchujo deliberately retreated to the edge of the competition stage. Lan Luocheng could not help but reveal a look of joy. This Yunchujo was already unavoidable. As long as he put in more effort, he would be able to knock her off the stage. Chapter 4798, Yunchujo, 1. Coincidentally, at this moment, the 3 layers of sword intent that Yunchujo once again displayed were all broken. Lan Luocheng used 100% of his strength and slapped towards Yunchujia's front heart. He sneered in his heart. With this palm strike, even if Yunchujo didn't die, she would still need to rest in bed for half a year. However, at this moment, he staggered. In addition to using too much strength, his body lost its balance and he knelt on one leg on the ground. Before he could understand what was going on, Yunchujia's sword stabbed towards his eyes. As the distance was too close and the incident happened too suddenly, he did not even have the time to set up his spiritual energy shield. He subconsciously rolled on the ground. Unfortunately, he forgot that this was the edge of the competition stage. Yunchujo calculated the direction again. With this roll, he directly rolled to below the stage. Although Lan Luoqing did not fall, he realized that he had actually lost in such a muddle-headed manner. He almost died from anger. His two spiritual beasts were still on the stage. Therefore, he used his spiritual sense to command them to rush towards Yunchujo in exasperation. Yunchujo, this fellow, dodged while shamelessly shouting, "Elder Ning, Elder Ning. That shameless Lan Luoqing has violated the rules. He has already fallen, yet he still uses his spiritual beasts to chase after me. Please make him stop." Elder Ning's eyes twitched for a moment, then he jumped onto the competition stage and waved his palm to disperse Lan Luoqing's two spiritual beasts. Then, he announced, "This round, the third branch, Yunchujo, wins." Everyone was a little dumbfounded. How did Lan Luoqing lose? How did he fall off the stage in a daze? Yunchujo won just like that? The great elder called Lan Luoqing to the side and asked with a sullen face, "What happened?" "Grandfather, I don't know why I slipped just now, so, you must be eager to win, so you accidentally fell down. How many times have I warned you to be calm and not be rash in a fight? What a waste." The great elder was so angry that he was twitching. It was fine if he lost to Lan Luomu or Lan Luohan, but he just lost to Yunchujo. Moreover, he had already lost twice, so he had nowhere to put his old face. On the other side, Lan Dimeo was naturally very happy. Regardless of how he had won, it was a good thing that he had won. However, he had benefited the second branch. This little trash was not a match for Lan Luomu on one hand, and on the other hand, after fighting with Lan Luoqing for so long, both her physical strength and spiritual power were almost exhausted. It was impossible for her to win. He felt that the sword intent from before was already Yunchujia's trump card. This little girl didn't have any other abilities. As for taking her to the Zen sect, it was just bait for fishing. He didn't plan to take her at all, because he was sure that Yunchujo wouldn't be able to win first place. If there wasn't a sect competition, perhaps Lan Luomu would lose because he underestimated his opponent. However, Lan Luomu had already learned from the previous lesson, and Yunchujia's physical strength had decreased by so much. She would definitely lose. As for the drawing of lots, it was naturally rigged, which was why Yunchujo was so unlucky. Yunchujo originally wanted to rest for a while, but she did not expect Elder Ning to immediately let Lan Luomu go on the stage and let the two of them start the competition. Yunchujo secretly complained. She had already used up more than half of her stamina and spiritual power. Even if she was a pervert, it would still have an effect. Moreover, Xiao Hei's curse could only be used once a day. No matter what, she could not beat the energetic Lan Luomu. This guy rolled his eyes and decided to release the Goei Batsao first. She was going to stall for time. Chapter 4799 now knew that it was cute. Lan Luomu stared at Yunchujo viciously. Although his hand had already recovered due to second elder's use of the immortal Luomu bone healing ointment, the grudge of losing his hand was irreconcilable. Today, he would make this wretched girl pay the price. He did not have any gentlemanly style and did not want a good reputation, so he did not plan to give Yunchujo any time to recover her strength. However, just as he was about to make a move, he heard Yunchujo say, "Wait a minute. I'll let my spiritual beast out for a walk first, then we'll make a move." Before Lan Luomu could say anything, a huge purple Goei Batsao appeared in front of everyone. Some of the people present had never seen Goei Batsao before, so when they saw Goei Batsao, they were all dumbfounded. TSK, this was the first time they had seen a spiritual beast that was a plant. Even if it was a plant, it could transform into a poisonous vine or something like that. It was actually a Goei Batsao. Could this thing have any offensive power? No wonder Yunchujia's swordsmanship was not bad. She probably knew that her spiritual beast was too useless, so she focused on practicing her swordsmanship. Because of the Goei Batsao in the middle, Lan Luomu could not directly fight with Yunchujio. While he was considering whether to release his spiritual beast, he heard Yunchujio say, "Old ancestor, this should be the first time you have seen such an interesting spiritual beast, right? You are a little curious, right? Let me tell you, my Goei Batsao is not an ordinary Goei Batsao." If Yunchujio was talking to herself or to others, Lan Luomu would definitely attack her without caring about anything else. However, Yunchujio was talking to old ancestor now, so he did not dare to act rashly. He could only bite his back teeth and listen to Yunchujio chattering away. Old ancestor, although this Goei Batsao of mine doesn't have much attack power, it knows how to act cute. Come, Goei Batsao, show old ancestor your heart. Hei Shinjio said this, but her spiritual sense was teasing the strange grass in her dantian. Guai Chao, little cutie, cooperate well with me. After the competition, I'll go to the medicine shop to buy you some herbs to eat. You can buy whatever you want to eat. Guai Chao shook its leaves arrogantly. Now it knew how to beg it. Now it knew that it was cute. What did it do when it scolded it previously? Humph. It has a backbone. How can I make it act cute? No way. Therefore, Hei Shinjo was embarrassed. Not only did the giant Goei Batsao not act cute, instead, it lay on the competition stage with a half-dead look. Ahem, old ancestor, it's bowing to you. It's bowing to you, Hei Shinjo said with a dry smile. The corner of the old ancestor's mouth twitched. He could see that this Goei Batsao not only had no offensive power, but the little girl was obviously not skilled enough to command it. With her level, she would definitely lose. Seeing that the old ancestor did not say anything, Lan Luomu snorted coldly. Yunchujio glared at Goei Batsao, who was lying on the ground, and then laughed lightly. Don't be so full of yourself. You're just a defeated opponent. Where did you get the courage to talk to me like that? Lan Luomu's expression became even colder. He sneered and released a spiritual sea snake. Yunchujio, my auxiliary spiritual beast can crush a Goei Batsao like you. I'll deal with your spiritual beast first before dealing with you. Chapter 4800. Which big sister Wu Yun did this? Yunchujio shrugged her shoulders indifferently. She originally wanted to deal with this damned Goei Batsao. Although it was only a spiritual beast, she could still vent her anger by watching it get abused. Moreover, she could use this period of time to recover her physical strength. The spiritual sea snake spat out its tongue and pounced fiercely at the Goei Batsao. Just when everyone thought that the Goei Batsao would be instantly destroyed by the attack, the Goei Batsao suddenly shrunk several times. It started jumping around on the competition stage. It even jumped on the head of the spiritual sea snake, and the flower tassel that looked like the Goei Batsao wagged its tail proudly. Everyone, why did this Goei Batsao look so similar to that Yunchujio? They were all the same. Shameless. However, it seemed that this Goei Batsao only knew how to dodge and did not have any means to fight back. It was really useless. Hei Xinjia's heart also felt like a dog's. She originally thought that this Goei Batsao could at least use its leaves to whip a few times, but now that she looked at it, it was even more useless than her. Cough cough, it was a slip of the tongue. It was purely a slip of the tongue. She was much better than this Goei Batsao. Lan Luomu looked at the Goei Batsao that was fleeing in all directions with disdain. Then, he summoned his intrinsic spiritual beast, a fierce spiritual blood crocodile. He and the spiritual blood crocodile attacked Yunchujio at the same time. When Yunchujio and Lan Luocheng were fighting, Lan Luomu had already thought of a way to break Yunchujia's stacked sword intent. That was to focus on one point, which would quickly break the stacked sword intent. Even if Yunchujo could release the sword intent immediately, her physical strength and spiritual power would not be able to hold on for a long time. The facts proved that he was right. Yunchujo quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. This fellow was forced to retreat repeatedly. In her heart, she thought that if she wanted to win, she only had two ways now. She could either summon a large kitchen knife or use the small flame in her right palm. However, no matter which method she used, that old fox of the Lan family's ancestor would probably discover the clues. It was really too complicated. As for the trick of pretending to fall, he could only use it once. If he used it again, it would be self-defeating. What should he do? It was a pity that her Jinx mouth skill was not effective at times. Otherwise, if she summoned a heavenly lightning to strike Lan Luomu to death, how good would that be? Sigh. Boom. A thick purple heavenly lightning descended from the sky and coincidentally struck Lan Luomu's body. Lan Luomu was stunned. If he had been prepared, this lightning bolt could only slightly injure him. However, due to the sudden turn of events, the lightning bolt knocked him out. Oh my god, which big sister Wu Yun did this? It was so fucking awesome. This fellow did not have time to think. He kicked Lan Luomu, who had fainted, under the stage. Lan Luomu's spiritual beast dissipated very quickly because his spiritual attack was cut off. Yunchujo said smugly, "Did you see that? Even the heavens are helping me." Ha ha ha. To be honest, I really didn't want to get first place, but I didn't expect that I would get first place just by casually sparring. A low-profile person like me really doesn't want to attract so much attention. How did I get first place just like that? I'm also very helpless. Lan Luomu, who had just woken up, was so angry that he fainted again when he heard this guy's shameless words. At first, Lan Dimeo's face was full of confusion, but then he laughed so hard that he couldn't close his mouth. Haha. He didn't expect this big pie to fall on the heads of the three of them. Although this little trash wasn't very capable, he was lucky. It seems that bringing her back is the right decision. Chapter 4801, Guai Chao, who was about to die of anger. Lan Dimeo was happy. The first elder and second elder were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They never dreamed that a little trash of the 9th layer of the quietness of the soul would win the first place in the competition. The second elder was even angrier than the first elder. No matter what, Lan Luoqing lost because he made a mistake. However, Luomu was knocked out by the heavenly lightning. That was why that stupid girl took advantage of him. He was so angry. The Lan family's patriarch had a complicated look on his face. Firstly, he had never expected such an outcome. Secondly, since Yunchujo had won first place, he could only fulfill his promise to take her to the Zen sect. It was a bit of a headache to think about it. Of course, he could go back on his words, and Yunchujo would not dare to do anything to him. However, if this was the case, this matter would become a demon in his heart. After all, it was not right for him to deceive a junior with his identity. Compared to these people, some grass, were more suffocating. The strange grass in Yunchuji's dantian was so angry that it was twitching. It was just about to show its true ability to make the black-hearted little girl look at it in a new light. Just as it was about to amaze the world and correct the name of the grass, it was intercepted by the heavenly lightning. It was so angry that it died. It recalled that Yunchujo had asked it to act cute from the bottom of its heart, and it had courageously rejected it. The entire grass was in bad shape. It was all that damned lightning. It had not struck earlier or later, but it had struck at that time. It must have been deliberately going against it. Damn that bastard lightning. If it had known this would happen, it would not have played with the sea snake with spirit power. It would have directly used its true abilities. It was truly regretful. Yunchujo did not know what Guai Chao was thinking. After Elder Ning announced the results of the competition, the fellow happily jumped off the stage and went to the ancestor. Old ancestor, I won first place. You must keep your word. The old ancestor nodded with a stiff expression. Of course, I'll keep my word. Well, set off in 3 days. Yun Shujo was so smart. Although the old ancestor's performance was not very obvious, she could tell that the old ancestor was somewhat unwilling. Could it be that the old man had only proposed that condition to force her to use her true abilities? This fellow thought of the bad lot that she had drawn one after another and instantly understood that she had been schemed against by this old fox. This fellow couldn't help but be on guard. This old fox was much more cunning than the people she had met before. She had to be more careful in the future. Although this fellow's heart was in turmoil, he revealed an obedient smile on his face. Thank you, old ancestor. Hearing the ancestors say to Yun Shujo that they would set off in 3 days, everyone's heart beat faster. Where did the ancestor want to take Yun Shujo? Second elder asked with a gloomy face. Yun Shujo, where does the ancestor want to take you? Second uncle, grandpa, I don't dare to reveal this. You'd better ask the ancestor. Hei Shinjo said with a smile. Second elder was furious. If he had the guts to ask the ancestor, why would he ask her? The others looked at Yun Shujo with hostility and jealousy. What right did the ancestor have to treat her differently? Even if she got the first place, she got it by chance. The first round was bought by her with 50 spirit stones. The second round was given to her by Lan Luocheng. The third round was even more ridiculous. It was a heavenly lightning strike. Chapter 4802, Iron Rooster. Yun Shujo didn't care whether they were angry or not. She walked up to Lan Dimeo and said with a smile, Great uncle, did I perform well? Not bad, not bad. You are quite capable, haha. Lan Dimeo couldn't close his mouth. The first place in the family competition was not only good in reputation, but also beneficial. How could he not be happy? Hei Shinjo said pitifully, Uncle, I've done a meritorious deed. Can you lend me some money? How much do you want to borrow? Forget about borrowing, I can even reward you. Lan Dimeo was in a good mood and said with a smile. It's not much. It's only 2 million. Last time, I blew up the door of the wind blade room. Housekeeper Sue has been asking me for money. Lan Dimeo's face instantly stiffened. He originally thought that Yun Shujo would at most say 100,000 to 80,000. Who would have thought that this guy would ask for 2 million? However, since he had already said it, he couldn't go back on his words. Thinking about how his ancestor treated this little girl in a different light, and even wanted to bring her out, it wasn't wrong to win her over properly. Thus, he endured the pain and transferred 2 million high-grade spirit stones to Yun Shujo. There's no need to return it. Consider it as a reward for you. Thank you, great uncle. I knew great uncle would be the most generous. Little Gio will definitely be filial to you in the future. Hei Xinjia's mouth seemed to be dipped in honey as she said with a smile. Lan Dimeo thought about how this fellow in front of him had been making him feel proud recently, and the heartache disappeared into thin air. After saying a few words, he left. When almost everyone had left, housekeeper Sue came up and said, Miss Cousin, now that you have money, shouldn't you? Before he could finish his words, he heard Yun Shujo say, Housekeeper Sue, why are you so big-hearted? It was not easy for me to scam you. Is it easy for me to get some money? I'm planning to keep it for when I go out with the old ancestor. As for the money for the wind blade room, we'll talk about it in the future. Housekeeper Sue, he finally understood that it was impossible for him to get the money. This fellow was an iron rooster. He simply didn't want to spend a single cent. If other people dared to go back on their word, he would have long sent them to the punishment room. However, he didn't dare to do so for this little ancestor in front of him. This person was someone who dared to knock on the city gate. He would only provoke her if he was tired of living. Therefore, housekeeper Sue watched Hei Shinjo swagger away. I didn't expect that you really got lucky. You actually won the first place. Yun Shujo knew that she was at Sundra, so she did not mind. She said proudly, "Of course. I'm the favorite of Tian Dao. My luck has always been very good. If you follow me, I guarantee that you will benefit a lot." Lan Luofeng pouted. "Don't be so smug. Although you got first place, don't you know how you got it? Let me tell you, you are now the public enemy of the Lan family. Everyone wants you to be unlucky." Yun Chuzhou sighed. "Sigh, who asked me to be so outstanding? Being invincible is so lonely." Lan Luofeng was so angry that she rolled her eyes and said unhappily, "All right, stop showing off. You better be careful in the future, or you won't even know how you died." Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. "Those who provoke me are the ones who are courting death. Let's go back to the residence, the sky is almost dark, I'm starving to death." Lan Luofeng knew that this guy was full of bad ideas, so she didn't bother to say anything more. The two of them returned to the third room. Chapter 4803, Guai Chao. Yun Chuzhou returned to the courtyard to wash up before preparing to eat dinner. She picked up her chopsticks and was about to eat when a strange smile suddenly appeared on her lips. Hong Ling, who was serving at the side, shivered in fear. What was wrong with this little ancestor? Who received today's food? Yun Chuzhou put down her chopsticks and asked. Hong Ling was stunned. "It's from Lulu." "Miss, is there something wrong with the food?" "Call Lulu in," Yun Chuzhou said lightly. Hong Ling quickly went out and called Lulu in. Lulu didn't know what had happened, but when she saw that Hong Ling didn't look well, she became a little nervous. "Miss, what do you want from me?" Yun Chuzhou slammed the table and shouted, "Did you receive this meal? Who gave you the courage to poison my meal?" Lu Luo was so scared that she immediately knelt on the ground. "Miss, I'm innocent. I wouldn't dare to poison you no matter how brave I am." Yun Chuzhou did not think that Lu Luo had poisoned her, but she wanted to test her reaction. Seeing that she did not look like she was lying, she said, "Tell me what happened when you received the meal." Lu Luo did not dare to hide anything and told her all the details. Yun Chuzhou narrowed her eyes. Lu Luo had come out from the kitchen to her courtyard without a second person handling it. This meant that the person who poisoned her had already done it in the kitchen. This was a bit difficult. There were many people in the kitchen, and there were people coming and going. It was really hard to say who had poisoned her. Yun Chuzhou looked at Hong Ling and Lu Luo. Build a small kitchen in the courtyard. Don't go to the big kitchen to get food in the future. Although she was not afraid of poison, these 3 maids were. She did not have the time to train 3 more maids. Hong Ling and Lu Luo's faces were pale as they agreed. Fortunately, the young lady was quick-witted. Otherwise, they would not have survived. Hong Ling and Lu Luo wanted to remove the dishes on the table, but Yun Chuzhou waved her hand. "I like these dishes with seasonings. You don't have to care about me. You can leave now." Hong Ling and Lu Luo were a little confused, but they knew that this little ancestor would not trick them, so they respectfully left. Yun Chuzhou curled the corners of her lips and began to eat and drink. The poison in these dishes was nothing to Guai Chao. Even so, after dinner, He Xinzhou scolded Guai Chao. "Go Weiba, have you grown up? How dare you go against me? Besides, you are a piece of trash. Even if you use grass leaves to whip it, you are not a piece of trash." Guai Chao shook its leaf aggrievedly. It was not a piece of trash, but it had been struck by that damn heavenly lightning. Unfortunately, it could not speak and could only be scolded pitifully. Yun Chuzhou cursed for a while and comforted herself. Although Go Weiba was not in tune, it could at least help her to be immune to all poisons. It was better than that damn black bead. Oh right, there was also that scammer, the Great Void Mirror. It would go into hibernation from time to time, as if it did not exist. Who knew how long it would take to find the last fragment? 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning, Hei Shinjo hopped to the ancestral residence and prepared to follow the Lan family's ancestor to the Zen sect. The first elder and the other two had already received the news the day before, so they all came to see her off. The second elder looked at Hei Shinjo, who was standing behind the ancestor, and was instantly furious. He secretly hated the old bald donkeys of the Zen sect. This stupid girl was also a troublemaker. Perhaps she would cause trouble when she arrived at the Zen sect. At that time, she would be in big trouble. Chapter 4804, Old Hunchback. The old ancestor gave a few simple instructions to the three elders before leaving the ancestral residence with Hei Shinjo, who was all smiles. The old ancestor did not bring any guards. He only brought a servant, a hunchbacked old man. Hei Shinjo thought to herself, it seems that this old fox is confident enough to protect himself. Otherwise, he would not even bring any guards. However, she reckoned that this hunchback must be very powerful. Otherwise, with so many people in the ancestral mansion, the old ancestor wouldn't have insisted on bringing him along. After the three of them left the imperial city, the old ancestor summoned his flying spirit tool and the three of them set off for the Zen sect. Compared to Lan Dimeo's luxurious flying spirit tool, the layout of the old ancestor's flying spirit tool was much simpler. However, Yun Shujo naturally wouldn't be foolish enough to think that this flying spirit tool couldn't be compared to Lan Dimeo's. Old ancestor, this flying spirit tool of yours is also from the Qing family of the Valley of Fog? The old ancestor nodded. That's right. The top flying spirit tools of the Chongshao continent are all from the Qing family of the Valley of Fog. Yun Shujo pondered in her heart when she heard this. If there was a chance, she would also get a few. This seemed to be much more awesome than her flying spirit tools. This fellow glanced at the hunchback again and asked, Old ancestor, who is this? You can call him Old Hunchback, Grand Ancestor said indifferently. Old Hunchback? It seemed that this hunchback status was not ordinary. Hei Shinjo thought and said with a smile, Old Hunchback, you know that I'm useless. Please take care of me when I'm in danger. Old Hunchback's expression did not change. He did not even make a sound of acknowledgement. It was obvious that he did not take Hei Shinjo seriously. Hei Xinjia's expression did not change. She cursed in her heart. What's the point of being cocky? If he was really in danger, he might have to rely on her. Humph. Hei Shinjo did not dare to deal with Elder Tuo like she did with housekeeper Su. This Elder Tuo's status was obviously not ordinary. Although he was very respectful to her ancestor, he did not look like a servant. Hei Shinjo had hit a soft spot with Elder Tuo. She could only continue to get close to her ancestor. Ancestor, tell me about the Zen sect. Isn't the Zen sect a Buddhist temple? The corners of the ancestor's mouth twitched. He knew that the guy was trying to find something to talk about. Her parents were detained in the Zen sect, and she had been running to the library. How could she not know something about the Zen sect? However, he still said, although the Zen sect is a Buddhist temple, it is not a temple. It is a sect that cultivates the power of Buddha. The rules of the Zen sect are strict. You must be careful when you go there. Otherwise, even I won't be able to protect you. Do you understand? Yun Shujo nodded obediently. Don't worry, Patriarch. I will be obedient. Yun Shujo was very tactful. Seeing that her patriarch was no longer interested in talking, she returned to her cabin. This guy's heart was not calm. Her parents were detained in the Zen sect. She did not know if she could get any useful information from this trip. She really did not understand how his parents had offended the Zen sect. She remembered that Di Baiming had once said that there was something wrong with the Yun family's ancestral tomb. She wondered if the Yun family's ancestral tomb had anything to do with the Zen sect. Thinking of this, she thought of Di Baiming, who had not been heard from. She was so worried that she felt a little depressed. Fortunately, this guy had a big heart. After eating some food, he was lively again. She had to look on the bright side of everything. No matter what, she had made some progress by being able to go to the Zen sect once. As for the pretty boy, there should be no big problems. If something happened to the pretty boy, the Divine Devil Hall would not be so quiet. They would have been playing drums and gongs. Chapter 4805, Ancient Buddhist Scripture. Yunchujo originally wanted to probe her ancestor about the Divine Devil Hall, but she was afraid that it would backfire, so she could only endure it. Her top priority now was to increase her strength. The rest of the things could be done slowly. Thinking of this guy began to sit cross-legged and cultivate to stabilize his realm. The journey was very smooth. 5 days later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Zen sect. Yunchujo looked at the misty mountain peak in front of her and was a little confused. Was this the Zen sect? Wasn't this just an ordinary mountain peak? At this moment, the scenery in front of them changed. In front of them was an ancient mountain gate with 2 big words written on the board, Zen sect. However, there was a vague word, bitter, in front of the Zen sect. It must have been erased later. Yunchujo couldn't help but laugh. Why was the signboard of the Chongshao continent in such a tone? Why were all the words erased? An old monk came out from the mountain gate and said with a smile, Master Lan came from afar. This penniless monk did not welcome you. I hope you will forgive me. Master Lei, you are too polite. Please forgive me for intruding on you, the old ancestor said politely. Yunchujo cursed in her heart. 2 hypocritical old foxes, bah. The 2 exchanged a few more pleasantries before Master Lei nodded at old Tua. Almsgiver Tua, how have you been? Old Tua also nodded and said coldly, I have been all right. Master Lei smiled and then his gaze fell on Yunchujo. He didn't say anything and called Master Lan to come in. Yunchujo had read some information about the Zen sect. This Master Lei had a high position in the Zen sect, second only to the sect master, Master Wu. Moreover, the people of the Zen sect were more rigid and cold. Only Master Lei knew how to be flexible. Therefore, Master Lei was in charge of dealing with other forces. After entering the Zen sect, Yunchujo found that there was not much difference between the Zen sect and ordinary sects, except that they were all monks. The disciples of the Zen sect all had serious expressions on their faces. When they saw Yunchujo and the others, they did not have any special expressions other than putting their palms together and standing at the side. Yunchujo thought to herself, no wonder people said that the people of the Zen sect were a group of old-fashioned people. It was really true. Each and every one of them was like a wooden sculpture made of clay. It was obvious that they were all dead set. The Zen sect was quite large. Although the reception hall they were heading to was on the main peak, they still walked for a while before they arrived at the reception hall. Hei Shinjo followed behind the ancestor of the Lan family. Her eyes darted around as she thought to herself, none of these old monks are good. Otherwise, why would they imprison my parents? After exchanging pleasantries, the ancestor of the Lan family took out a sheepskin scroll from his storage ring and said with a smile, Master Lu Wu, this is the ancient Buddhist scripture that I mentioned earlier. It would be a waste to leave it with me. It's more appropriate to leave it with your sect for safekeeping. Yunchujo glanced at the sheepskin scroll and her heart skipped a beat. She had bought a Buddhist scripture from a disciple of the Nameless Sword sect in order to deal with the drifter. It seemed very similar to this one. Master Lu's expression finally changed when he saw the sheepskin scroll. He became even more excited when he received the Buddhist scripture and opened it. He pressed his palms together and said, Master Lan, this Buddhist scripture is extremely important to our Zen sect. Thank you very much. Master Lan said a few polite words and then said, Master Lu, I plan to cultivate in the tranquil spring of your sect for a few days. I wonder if it would be convenient for me? Chapter 4806 Spring of Tranquility. Yunchujo finally understood why the ancestor of the Lan family came all the way to the Zen sect as a guest. It turned out that he had such an idea. The Zen sect had 3 treasures. One of them was the Spring of Tranquility. The spring of tranquility was the eye of a spring. It was said that this spring was created by the relic of the Buddha. Therefore, it had the effect of dispelling inner demons and calming one's mind. There was no need to drink this spring or bathe in it. One only needed to meditate and cultivate near it to have a miraculous effect. Generally speaking, the spring of tranquility was not open to the public. Even Zen sect disciples were not qualified to approach the spring of tranquility. It seemed that the old fox had communicated with this Master Hao Wu before. The ancient Buddhist scripture from before was the condition of the exchange. Sure enough, Master Wu nodded. Of course. Later, I'll get a junior brother to bring you there. However, the discipline in the sect is very strict, so please be careful with your words and actions. The old ancestor of the Lan family smiled. Of course. We will definitely abide by the rules of your sect. Master Wu's gaze fell on Yunchujo. He frowned slightly and said, this young benefactor has quite a strong murderous aura. Indeed, he should cultivate in the quiet spring to remove the karmic barrier. Although Yunchujo did not quite understand the meaning of karmic barrier, she vaguely knew that it was the meaning of sin. She was furious. How could such a kind and good girl like her have any karmic barrier? That damned old monk was obviously blind. However, this fellow did not dare to blow his top. He revealed a silly smile and did not say a word. Master Lei shook his head. He already knew that Yunchujo was the daughter of Yunfengjin and Yilan. However, the Buddha was merciful and did not punish his children. The Zen sect would not do anything to this little girl. However, if she committed evil, then she could only be punished according to the law. Master Lei's thoughts had already flown to the ancient Buddhist scriptures. After saying a few perfunctory words, he found an excuse to let a master bring the three ancestors of the Lan family to the Spring of Tranquility. The Spring of Tranquility was at the back of the mountain of the main peak. An hour later, everyone arrived at the Spring of Tranquility. The Spring of Tranquility was surrounded by an ancient tree. Although it was a spring, what everyone saw was a rather large pool. There were bubbles rolling in the middle of the pool. It should be the Spring of Tranquility. The bubbling bubbles produced sounds similar to the beating of a wooden fish. It was said that this was the main reason why people could calm their minds and focus their minds. The Lan family's ancestor and elder Tua's expressions were very pious. When they sensed this, their impetuous mood immediately calmed down. As for Hei Shinjo, when she saw the pool of spring water, she thought to herself, I wonder if there are fish in the spring water. If there are fish, the taste will definitely be very delicious. Master Lei left after Master Lei said a few polite words. Ji Kong and Ji Su were two handsome young monks. However, they looked very serious. Seeing that Master Lei did not give them any instructions, they directly meditated in the distance. Yunchujo pursed her lips. The way the Zen sect treated their guests was really complicated. Ancestor, I'll help you decorate the room. Don't worry. I've brought a few sets of blankets, pillows, dining tables, and rice bowls. I guarantee that you'll be comfortable. Hei Shinjo said with a smile. The ancestor of the Lan family, they were here for a retreat, not an outing, okay? Chapter 4807. Jesus' little brother Yunchujo sneaked into a small wooden house without waiting for the ancestor of the Lan family to say anything. The furnishings in the wooden house were very simple. There was only a wooden bed, a table and a chair. Hei Shinjo was like a hard-working bee. She rearranged the three small wooden houses and arrived at the side of the spring. Seeing that the ancestor of the Lan family and elder Tua were meditating, she listened to the sound of bubbles coming out of the spring curiously. He did not feel anything, such as calming his mind or expelling the demons in his heart. She felt that it was just an ordinary bubbling sound. It was not as magical as it sounded. It was just the psychological effect of a human being. Blinking his eyes, he jumped in front of Ji Kong and Ji Su. Ji Kong stood up and put his palms together. Almsgiver Yun, what can I do for you? It's already noon. Shouldn't you be preparing vegetarian rice for us? I heard that your Zen sect has many delicious dishes, such as assorted tofu, jade bean rolls, stir-fried cabbage, lotus flower crisps. Ji Kong, Ji Su, was this person here to cultivate or to eat? If he was not here to eat, how could he know so much about the vegetarian dishes here? Ji Kong said coldly, Almsgiver Yun, since the three of you are here to cultivate, you should abstain from eating. This is beneficial to your cultivation. Abstain from eating? Hei Xinjiu rolled her eyes immediately. In this world, food was the only thing that could not be let down. If she was not allowed to eat, she might as well be killed. Well, the old ancestor and elder Tua are here to cultivate. I'm here to be their servant girl, so I have to eat. If you don't fetch me my food, I'll have to fetch it myself. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other. There were no female disciples in the Zen sect. If the little girl were to go to the vegetarian hall, it would definitely cause trouble. Therefore, Ji Kong said in a flat tone, in that case, I'll go fetch the vegetarian meal for Almsgiver Yun. Almsgiver Yun, please wait a moment. Yun Shujo nodded happily and added, well, I have a big appetite, so I'll get more. Ji Kong's face stiffened, but he did not say anything and went to get the vegetarian meal for this fellow. Ji Zu's face stiffened. Benefactor Yun, please address this penniless monk by my Dharma name. Also, this penniless monk still has to meditate. Benefactor Yun, please go back. TSK, your cultivation is obviously not good enough. This form of address is just a worldly thing. Even if I call you Miss Ji Su, your expression should not change, Yun Shujo said with a pout. Ji Zu's face stiffened even more. Almsgiver Yun, please leave. Master Lei said that he would look for you and little brother Ji Kong if there's anything. How can you drive me away? Is this how the Zen sect treats their guests? Yun Shujo puffed up her cheeks and said angrily. Ji Su obviously didn't know how to respond. He could only hold the Buddha bead in his hand and say nothing. Yun Shujo took out a spirit fruit and chewed it a few times. Then she asked, little brother Ji Su, have you been cultivating in the Zen sect since you were young? Where are your parents? Once you become a Buddhist, the past is all in the past. This penniless monk can no longer remember it. Oh, so your brain isn't that good. You didn't remember it. But that's true. You were still young at that time, so it's inevitable that your memory isn't good, Yun Shujo said faintly. Ji Zu's expression turned a little ugly. You're the one who's not good. Is this little girl sick? Chapter 4808 She was here to eat for free. Yun Shujo glanced at Ji Su and was secretly happy. Little boy, even a pretty boy without 7 emotions and 6 desires was no match for me. A little monk like you was a piece of cake. Little brother Ji Su, I heard that your Zen sect cultivates Buddhist power. Which is more powerful, Buddhist power or spiritual power? Ji Su suppressed the impatience in his heart and said, Buddha says that you don't fight, so it doesn't matter which is more powerful. Almsgiver Yun, senior brother Ji Kong will bring back the vegetarian meal very soon, so please go back and wait for him. Ji Su almost told Hei Xinjiu to get lost. Unfortunately, Hei Xinjiu was not aware of it at all. She nodded and said, oh, the Buddha Dharma is indeed profound. I've learned a lot from you. Ji Su, I haven't seen the people of the Zen sect fight yet. Let's exchange a few moves and see what I can do. Ji Su could not take it anymore. He decided to just meditate and ignore Ji Su. He thought that Yun Shujo would back down after this. He did not expect that Hei Xinjiu would be boisterous beside him. Little brother Ji Su, can you introduce the Zen sect to me? Why don't you accompany me for a tour? Little brother Ji Su, who is more powerful between you and little brother Ji Kong? I guess he is more powerful, right? After all, your brain is not that good. Just when Ji Su was about to go crazy, Ji Kong came back. Seeing that there was food, He Shinjo immediately beamed with joy and left. Seeing Ji's livid face, Ji Kong asked in confusion, "Junior brother, what happened to you?" Ji Su remembered that Yun Chujio said Ji Kong was more powerful than him. He snorted coldly and said, "Nothing." Ji Kong was confused. People of the Zen sect rarely had emotional ups and downs. Why did his junior brother Ji Su look so impetuous? On the other side, He Shinjo asked with a smile, "Ancestor, Elder Tua, the vegetarian meal is here." The ancestor of the Lan family and Elder Tua didn't say anything. It was obvious that they had no intention of eating. He Shinjo wished that the two of them wouldn't eat. She immediately started eating and drinking, and she even fed the rest of the vegetarian meal to the dumb cuties. Wasn't she afraid that the old monks would know that she was the ghost ancestor and kill her? Qi thought about it again. Very few people knew that Yun Chujio was the ghost ancestor, so it wouldn't be a big deal. However, what had happened that would make the Zen sect hate the ghost ancestor to the bone? After lunch, He Shinjo walked around the pond a few times and found that there weren't even any aquatic plants, let alone fish. Blinking her eyes, she jumped in front of Ji Kong and Ji Su again. Ji Su frowned subconsciously and retreated a distance. Ji Kong was baffled, but he still stood up and asked, "Patron Yun, what can I do for you?" "Ji Kong, I heard that your Zen sect is rich in karma. Can you pick a basket for me?" He Shinjo asked with a smile. Ji Kong was startled by the title, Ji Kong, and his eyes twitched when he saw the bamboo basket that was as tall as a man on the ground. He finally understood. This little girl was not here to cultivate. She was here to eat for free. Just as he was about to refuse, Ji Su said, "I'll go pick it." Before Ji Kong could react, Ji Su had already carried the bamboo basket and ran away. Ji Kong. Chapter 4809. From benefactor Yun. Ji Kong was still in a daze when he heard Yun Chujio say with a smile, "Ji Kong, you might not know this, but Ji Su has told me a lot about you." Ji Kong was stunned. "About me? What is it?" Yun Chujio covered her mouth. Ji Su specifically told me not to tell you. How did I let it slip?" "Ji Kong, just pretend that you didn't hear anything." After He Shinjo said that, she hopped away in a panic. Ji Kong's heart was beating fast. What did Ji Su say about him? Therefore, when Ji Su came back after picking the fruit, Ji Kong asked, "Ji Su, what did you say to benefactor Yun about me?" Ji Su frowned. "I didn't say anything. Don't listen to her nonsense." Ji Kong became even more suspicious when he heard that. If he didn't say anything, why was he so impatient? And why did he retreat previously? Why did he rush to pick the fruit? It was obvious that he was guilty. Ji Su was already in a bad mood. Now that he saw Ji Kong's unfriendly expression, he became even more dissatisfied with Ji Kong. In the next 2 days, Yun Chujio came over to sow discord and successfully caused Ji Kong and Ji Su to fight. The patriarch of the Lan family, who was cultivating in seclusion, Elder Tua, didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect didn't fight for anything? Didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect were calm and unruffled? Didn't they say that the disciples of the Zen sect didn't fight for anything in the world? Why were the two disciples still fighting near the spring of tranquility? It was not bad that the two of them didn't know about it. It was mainly because the two of them had abandoned their distracting thoughts when they were cultivating in seclusion. Naturally, they didn't pay attention to the conversation between He Shinjo and Ji Kong, so they didn't know that it was all He Xinjia's doing. Seeing that Ji Kong and Ji Su were locked in a fight, the Lan family's ancestor did not know what to say. He could only send a voice transmission talisman to a Master Lei. "Master Lei, please come over for a moment." Master Lei did not know what had happened. When he saw Ji Kong and Ji Su fighting, he was so angry that he shouted, "Amitba! Amitba! Stop! Stop. Only then did Ji Kong and Ji Su stop fighting. They stood there with bruises on their faces and did not make a sound. Master Lei felt that he had nowhere to put his face. They actually fought in front of the guests. It was simply embarrassing. Master Lei first expressed his apology to the Lan family's ancestor, then brought Ji Kong and Ji Su back to his meditation room. Master Lei was furious. Although his cultivation was high, this incident was too embarrassing. Evil creatures. Have you forgotten the Buddha's admonition to you? Why did you quarrel? Ji Kong said aggrievedly, Master, Ji Su said bad things about me behind my back, and even accused me of stealing the offerings when I was cleaning the Buddha statue. You're talking nonsense. When did I say something like that? Instead, you said that my memory has always been bad and my brain isn't functioning properly, Ji Su said angrily. You're the one who's talking nonsense. I never said that. Besides, your brain isn't functioning properly to begin with. Then you're stealing the offerings. And you're slacking off. Seeing Ji Kong and Ji Su quarreling again, Master Lei was so angry that his beard stood up. He wished he could kick these two guys out. All of you shut up and tell me one by one. What is going on? Moreover, since you said it behind my back, how did you know? Master Lei asked sternly. Ji Su, Benefactor Yun said it. Ji Kong, Benefactor Yun said it. Chapter 48:10 The Demoness Master Lei. Master Lei twirled a circle of Buddhist beads in his hand and said, Ji Su, you go first. Tell me everything in detail. Ji Su also realized that something was not right, so he told the truth about what Yun Chuzhou had done. However, when he said, little brother Ji Su, he was more or less uncomfortable. After Ji Su finished, Master Lei asked Ji Kong to tell him what he knew. After Master Lei heard it, how could he not understand that all of this was caused by Yun Chuzhou, that little girl? On one hand, he was angry that Yun Chuzhou had fooled his two disciples. On the other hand, he felt that his two disciples were as stupid as pigs. Amitabha, a monk should not offend his mouth. Amitabha, Amitabha. Master Lei chanted the name of Buddha several times before he looked at Ji Kong and Ji Su. Stop being greedy, angry, foolish, slow, and suspicious. Your cultivation is not enough. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked ashamed, but at the same time, they were very angry at the instigator. Ji Su was angry and aggrieved. He said, Master, although senior brother Ji Kong and I did not cultivate enough, we would not have broken the precepts if Yun Chuzhou did not sow discord between us. Ji Kong also echoed, Yes, Master. That Yun Chuzhou looks innocent and lively, but I didn't expect her to have such a vicious heart. She must have no good intentions when she came to our Zen sect. Master, give the order. We will send her to the discipline hall now. Master Lei looked at his two disciples speechlessly. Send her to the discipline hall? Which rule did she break in our Zen sect? Think carefully, what did she tell you at that time? Ji Kong and Ji Su were instantly terrified. They carefully recalled what Yun Chuzhou said, but it was all plausible. She was only guiding them. Everything was their own speculation and misunderstanding. They really could not find any evidence against her. Master Lei shook his head. The Zen sect disciples were dedicated to cultivating Buddhist power. Although their cultivation was profound, because they were isolated from the mortal world, their minds were mostly very simple. How could they be a match for that little girl? But why did she do that? Wasn't she afraid of angering the Zen sect? Master Lei also knew Yun Chuzhou's identity, so he was a little suspicious. This little girl was not here for Yun Fengjin and his wife, was she? Master Lei shook his head again. Since that little girl was so smart, she would not do such a thing. Then why did she want to sow discord between Ji Kong and Ji Su? Master Lei could not figure out Yun Chuzhou's thoughts at the moment. He said to Ji Kong and Ji Su, this matter will be treated as your training. continue to work at the Spring of Tranquility. Ji Kong and Ji Su had no choice but to return to the Spring of Tranquility. Brothers, are you okay? Why did you fight all of a sudden? You scared me to death. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at He Shinjo, who looked like a frightened little rabbit, and were furious. At this moment, in their eyes, Yun Shujo was a female devil. However, thinking of the instructions of a master lay and the fact that Yun Shujo was a guest, they could not do anything, so they agreed perfunctorily and began to meditate on the spot. They figured out that Yun Shujo could say whatever she wanted to say, and they could not say anything, so she could not stir up trouble. Chapter 48:11. I'm staying here. Seeing that the two of them were ignoring her, Yun Shujo was not annoyed and started to brag about her great achievements. Ji Kong and Ji Su were annoyed, but they were on duty now and could not seal their five senses, so they could only listen to the devil's voice. The two of them thought that perhaps if they were further away from the Spring of Tranquility, the female devil would not bother them anymore. Therefore, the two of them retreated a great distance, but Yun Shujo still chased after them like a dog skin plaster. The two of them could not bear it anymore, and they begged a master lay to give them another job. It was simply too torturous. Master lay refused flatly. If you don't even have this bit of willpower, how can you break through your cultivation? Ji Kong and Ji Su had no choice but to return to the Spring of Tranquility with their heads drooping, but they saw that the female devil was eating a drumstick. The two of them were overjoyed. They finally had something on her. She dared to eat meat in the Zen sect. This was a big taboo. The most important rule in the Zen sect was that even guests were no exception. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and decided to take Yun Shujo directly to the discipline hall. It was quite a distance from the Spring of Tranquility. The head of the Lan family and that old hunchback were cultivating in seclusion, so they could not notice it at all. Even if the incident was exposed, they would have an excuse to say that they had taken Yun Shujo away to avoid disturbing their cultivation. Besides, the Zen sect wasn't afraid of the Lan family at all. This time, it was Yun Shujo who was courting death. Even the patriarch of the Lan family had nothing to say. Therefore, the two of them didn't say anything and directly restrained Yun Shujo's spiritual power, escorting her to the discipline hall. Yun Shujo did not resist. She let the two of them escort her to the discipline hall, still holding the drumstick in her hand. Ji Kong and Ji Su only felt that all the pent-up frustration that they had accumulated over the past few days had been swept away. They were the personal disciples of a master lay. Usually, they had a smooth sailing in the Zen sect. However, they had been played by this female devil, so naturally, they had been very aggrieved. Now, this female devil had violated the precepts. Although the punishment was not too severe, it could at least let them vent their anger. The two of them escorted Yun Shujo to the gate of the discipline hall, and then they released Yun Shujo's spiritual power. Ji Su said with a hint of schadenfreude, "Almsgiver Yun, according to the sect rules, you will be punished with a cane for such behavior. You'd better take care of yourself." Yun Shujo glanced at him and then shouted, "I'm wronged. I'm wronged." The Zen sect actually framed a guest. "I've learned a lot." Ji Su and Ji Kong were shocked. Had this female devil gone mad? She was still holding the drumstick in her hand. How could she be wronged? At this time, Elder Lei Yin of the discipline hall happened to arrive. He frowned when he saw the situation. What happened? Ji Su quickly said, "Martial uncle, this almsgiver Yun is openly eating meat in our Zen sect, so senior brother Ji Kong and I brought her here." Nonsense. When did I eat meat? It's obviously made of flour. I asked my maid to make it for me so that I wouldn't break the rules of the Zen sect. I didn't expect that you would bring me to the discipline hall without any reason. Is this the way of your Zen sect to treat guests? He Shinjo said angrily. Made of flour? Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded. Ji Su snatched the drumstick from Yun Chujia's hand and took a look, wasn't it? It was really made of flour. They were too excited just now, so they didn't take a closer look. The two of them could only smile apologetically and say, Benefactor Yun, this is all a misunderstanding. I'm sorry. Let's go back now. Go back? You guys wronged me for no reason. Are we just going to let it go? I'm not going back. If you don't give me an explanation today, I'll just stay here and not leave. As Yun Shujio said this, she directly took out the small pony and sat down at the door of the discipline hall. She looked at Ji Kong and Ji Su angrily. Chapter 48. Drama Queen Ji Kong and Ji Su saw that Yun Shujio refused to leave, and their claws were instantly numb. Although they had imprisoned Yun Chujia's spiritual power previously, they had directly brought her to the discipline hall under the premise that they thought that Yun Shujio had violated the rules. Now that they had already figured out that it was a misunderstanding, they naturally could not forcefully attack the guest. Benefactor Yun, this is all our fault. Don't bother with us, Ji Kong said with an apologetic smile. Yun Shujio snorted coldly. Don't bother with you? You were gloating just now, wishing that I would be caned. I don't understand. How did a kind and cute little girl like me provoke you? How could you treat me so viciously? Ji Kong and Ji Su almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How shameless could you be? How could you be kind and cute? Don't insult these two words. Although the two of them wished they could slap this guy to death, the Zen sect's rules were strict. How could they dare to attack their guests? They could only rack their brains to apologize and hope that Yun Shujio would let them off. Elder Lei Yin of the discipline hall had been watching from the side and did not say anything. Firstly, he did not know the whole story, and secondly, he also knew Yun Shujia's identity. He wanted to see what this little girl's motive was. Just when Elder Lei Yin thought that Yun Shujio was going to take the opportunity to propose some conditions, he heard her sigh and say, Forget it. I'm the softest person. Since you know that you're wrong, I won't make things difficult for you. Let's go back to the Spring of Tranquility. Ji Kong and Ji Su almost cried when they heard that. This female devil had finally relented. Otherwise, they really didn't know what to do. Elder Yin shook his head as he watched the three people leave. Was he thinking too much? The little girl was not scheming anything? After a while, Hei Shinjo saw that they were quite a distance away from the discipline hall, so she said faintly, My noodles and drumsticks have been dirted by you. I'm so hungry that I'm going to whip them. Take me to the vegetarian hall to eat. Ji Kong said awkwardly, Almsgiver Yun, why don't you and junior brother Ji Su go back to the Spring of Tranquility first? I'll go to the vegetarian hall to get your vegetarian meal. You see, Ji Kong wished he could kick this guy away. However, when he saw the Zen disciples passing by looking over curiously, he gritted his teeth and said, All right, I will take you to the dining hall to eat the vegetarian meal. However, you can't run around or talk casually. Yun Shujio immediately stood up with a smile and said, Little brother Ji Kong, I knew you were the most reasonable. Let's go quickly. Ji Kong and Ji Su felt as if their hearts had been bawled out. This female devil had changed her face just like that. She was simply a drama queen. The two reluctantly brought Yun Shujio to the vegetarian hall. It was lunchtime, so there were many Zen sect disciples in the hall. When the crowd saw Yun Shujio, although no one said anything, their eyes were full of inquiry. Although there were occasional guests from the Zen sect, none of them came directly to the dining hall, let alone a female benefactor. Ji Kong and Ji Su saw the inquisitive eyes of the crowd and wished they could find a hole to hide in. Ji Kong hurriedly took a plate of vegetarian rice and handed it to Yun Shujio. Benefactor Yun, please enjoy your meal. Yun Shujio did not make things difficult for him and began to eat slowly. While Yun Shujio was enjoying her meal, she heard a cold and solemn voice say, Ji Kong, Ji Su, have you forgotten the rules of the sect? Why did you bring an outsider to the vegetarian hall? Chapter 48:13. Ji Ping. Yunchujiu looked up and saw that the person who spoke was a middle-aged monk. His gaze was different from the clarity of Ji Kong and Ji Su. It was filled with calculation and ruthlessness. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately stood up. Ji Kong quickly explained, "Senior brother Ji Ping, almsgiver Yun is hungry and happens to be very close to the dining hall, so we..." Before Ji Kong could finish his words, Ji Ping shouted sternly, "These are all excuses. Why aren't you taking your people and leaving? Otherwise, I can only ask my people to drive you out." Senior brother Ji Ping, almsgiver Yun is a guest of the Lan family, Ji Kong wanted to explain, but was interrupted by Ji Ping again. "I don't care about the Lan family or the Hong family. The rules of the Zen sect cannot be broken. Get out now." Ji Kong had no choice but to look at Yun Chujiu with a troubled expression. "Almsgiver Yun, I have already gotten you an extra vegetarian meal. Let's go now." Yun Chujiu ignored Ji Kong and looked at Ji Ping. "There doesn't seem to be a rule that forbids guests from eating in the vegetarian hall, right? Can the rules of the Zen sect change so easily?" Ji Ping did not expect Yun Chujiu to dare to question his words. She was just a junior of the Lan family, and she dared to question him? She really did not know what she was capable of. Ji Ping snorted coldly. "Almsgiver Yun, this is not the Lan family. I advise you to stay out of trouble." Ji Kong and Ji Su suddenly had a bad premonition. They quickly said, "Almsgiver Yun, let's go quickly. Otherwise, the master of the Lan family will be worried if he can't find you." Yun Chujiu glanced at the two of them and then at Ji Ping. She said faintly, "Wait until I finish eating before we leave. There's no rush." Ji Kong and Ji Su were so anxious that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall. Ji Ping revealed a cold smile. He was the direct disciple of the sect master, Master Lei. Logically speaking, he should be responsible for receiving guests. However, Master Lei handed over the task of receiving guests to a master. And every time, Master Lei would let Ji Kong and Ji Su be responsible for receiving guests. After a few times, Ji Ping's heart was no longer in balance. In his opinion, being able to receive guests, on one hand, showed how highly valued they were, and on the other hand, could expand his network. This would be very useful for him to inherit the position of sect master in the future. Most importantly, the Zen sect was different from other sections. All the successive disciples had the qualifications to become the successor of the sect master. Therefore, Ji Ping had always disliked Ji Kong and Ji Su. However, he didn't have any evidence against them, so he didn't want to make things difficult for Ji Ping. Now that he finally found such an opportunity, he naturally had to make use of it. "Ji Kong, Ji Su, I'll give you one last chance. Either you take your people and leave now, or I'll get someone to chase you out," Ji Ping said with a sneer. Ji Kong and Ji Su were about to persuade Yun Chujiu when they heard a clang, followed by the sound of bowls and plates shattering. The two of them looked closely and saw that it was Yun Chujiu who had kicked the table over. Their heads buzzed. This was bad. The situation was going to blow up. "If you don't want to eat, then we won't eat. Brothers, let's go." Yun Chujiu turned around and was about to leave the dining hall. Ji Ping never dreamed that Yun Chujiu would dare to kick the table. How could he let her leave? He shouted, "Stop! How dare you to kick the table?" Yun Chujiu laughed lightly, "Old monk Ji Ping, I just accidentally knocked over the table just now. Don't accuse me wrongly." Chapter 48:14. Beat you to death, old monk? Ji Ping's nose almost went crooked from anger. Although he was older than Ji Kong and Ji Su, he was definitely not old. This wretched girl must have done it on purpose. "Stop quibbling. Someone bring her to the discipline hall," Ji Ping said exasperatedly. Ji Kong hurriedly said, Senior brother Ji Ping, please calm down. Benefactor Yun didn't do it on purpose, shut up. And the two of you, you left your post without permission and brought an outsider to the vegetarian hall. You can go to the discipline hall to be punished together. Ji Ping said coldly. Ji Kong and Ji Su were so anxious that their foreheads were covered in sweat. Although they wanted Yun Chuzhou to be punished, it was different from the current situation. They had brought Yun Chuzhou to the discipline hall just to vent their anger. They didn't really want to do anything to Yun Chuzhou. However, Ji Ping was a member of the discipline hall. He had always been ruthless and disliked them. Perhaps he would punish them directly without telling Master Lei. At that time, even if he did not die, he would still be skinned alive. At this time, 7 or 8 monks had already walked up to Yun Chuzhou and the other two. They looked at them with an unfriendly expression. Please. Ji Kong was about to send a message to a Master Lei when Ji Ping shouted coldly, You better behave yourselves. Otherwise, I don't mind confining your spiritual power. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou said with a chuckle, I always thought that the Zen sect was an isolated place. There was no so-called intrigue, no so-called conspiracy, and now it seems that this is all there is to it. I was only having a meal, and yet I was able to suffer such an unexpected disaster. I'm afraid, old monk Ji Ping, your intention is not in the bar, is it? TSK, are the two little brothers Ji Kong and Ji Su in your way? That's true. The two brothers are much cuter than you. Only a blind person would choose you as the successor of the sect master. As soon as Yun Chuzhou's words left her mouth, the entire dining hall fell into a dead silence. Although most of the people from the Zen sect were simple-minded, they were not fools. They knew a thing or two about Ji Ping's thoughts, but no one had ever dared to say it so bluntly. This Yun Chuzhou was really bold. Wasn't she afraid that Ji Ping would kill her out of embarrassment? Although she was a guest and a member of the Lan family was not enough to be compared to the Zen sect. Moreover, the head of the Lan family would not fall out with the Zen sect over a mere junior. Moreover, this Yun Chuzhou had run to the dining hall by herself. Even if things got out of hand, she was not in the right. As expected, after Ji Ping heard Yun Chuzhou's words, a fierce look flashed across his eyes. Thinking of this, the Buddha power in Ji Ping's hand instantly condensed into a black lotus, and he was about to attack Yun Chuzhou. Seeing this, Ji Kong and Ji Su hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. Senior brother Ji Ping, you can't. A trace of viciousness flashed in Ji Ping's eyes. Just as he was about to heavily injure Ji Kong and Ji Su, he stumbled and received a heavy blow to his head, causing him to faint on the ground. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded. They only saw a flash before they saw Ji Ping faint on the ground. What shocked them the most was that the female devil was holding a rolling pin and beating Ji Ping up. You are so shameless, you want to use me as an excuse to kill Ji Kong and Ji Su, I will beat you to death. This is for Ji Su. This is for Ji Kong. This is for me. This is for the table. Chapter 48:15 of the Zen sect was too terrifying. Logically speaking, Ji Ping's cultivation base was much higher than He Xinjia's. However, his attention was on Ji Kong and Ji Su just now, and he wanted to hit them with one strike. Who would have thought that Yun Chuzhou, who was trash in his eyes, would suddenly make a move? Of course, this was mainly because of the curse of Xiao Hanyo. Otherwise, He Xinjiu would not have had a chance to succeed. Everyone in the dining hall was dumbfounded for a moment. Even Ji Ping's subordinates could not react in time. By the time everyone reacted, Ji Ping had already been beaten until his skin and flesh were torn open. Due to the intense pain, Ji Ping had already woken up. However, his spiritual energy was restrained by Yun Chuzhou, and he could not resist. He cursed angrily, Yun Chuzhou, how dare you hit me? Even if you are from the Lan family, you can forget about leaving the Zen sect alive. Yun Shujo hit him with the rolling pin again. So what if I hit you? I am hitting you. If you have the ability, you can stand up and fight with me. A person with such a bad moral character like you should not be alive. If I hit you, I will eliminate the harm for the people. Ji Ping yelled at his subordinates angrily. Aren't you going to get rid of her? Yun Shujo snorted coldly. If anyone comes over, I will smash his head with the rolling pin. Hearing that, everyone immediately did not dare to move. Ji Kong saw that the matter was getting bigger and bigger, and his head was buzzing. He had no choice but to secretly send a message to Master Lei. After a while, Yun Shujo caught a glimpse of Master Lei and the old ancestor of the Lan family coming over. She raised her voice and cursed, "You keep saying that I have violated the rules of the Zen sect. Bah! Aren't you just using this as a pretext to attack the two little brothers? With that petty mind of yours, are you still fooling around in front of me? Just now, it seemed like you wanted to harm me, but in fact, you wanted to use this opportunity to kill the two little brothers. You're too vicious. If the two little brothers were to meet with misfortune, our Lan family would be covered with mouths and we wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. You sure know how to use this borrowed knife to kill people. Let me tell you, I'll eat anything, but I won't be at a disadvantage. Today, I must beat you to death." Hearing Yun Shujia's words, Master Lei's footsteps paused slightly. The eyes of the Lan family's patriarch also flashed, and then he shouted sternly, "Evil creature! Stop!" Yun Shujo was stunned at first, and then her face was full of tears. She threw herself in front of the Lan family's patriarch and said, "Patriarch, sob, I am going to be bullied to death. Let's go back to the Lan family. This Zen sect is too scary. Everyone, can you be a little more sincere when you're lying? Who knocked over the table? Who beat Ji Ping to a pulp?" The corners of the Lan family's patriarch's eyes twitched, and he said with a straight face, "What on earth is going on? Why are you in the dining hall?" Hei Shinjo just wiped her tears and hummed without saying a word. She glanced at Ji Kong and Ji Su. Ji Kong and Ji Su had been in a daze just now. They were a little scared after hearing Yun Shujia's words. Ji Ping's cultivation level was much higher than theirs. If he had not stumbled just now, they would have been either dead or injured. Although they knew that Ji Ping was dissatisfied with them, they never thought that he would want their lives. When the two of them saw Yun Shujo looking at them, they immediately knelt in front of a Master Lei. "Master Lei, this is all our fault. We mistakenly thought that almsgiver Yun smashed the sect to eat meat and brought her to the discipline hall." After hearing what had happened, Master Lei looked at Ji Ping, who had already been released from his spiritual power. "Ji Ping, is Ji Kong telling the truth?" Chapter 48:16. The reason for being a demon. Many people in the dining hall had seen what had happened. Ji Ping could not deny it and nodded. "Uncle Master, Ji Kong's words are basically true. I let Yun Shujo out to protect the sect rules. Who would have thought that not only did she not listen, but she also kicked over the table and severely injured me?" Yun Shujo curled her lips and snorted. "Which sect rule of the Zen sect forbids guests from eating in the dining hall? Or do you not care about the Lan family at all? Besides, why don't you tell us about your unspeakable evil intentions?" "Pooh! Shameless!" The master of the Lan family coughed and said, "Evil creature, shut up." Yun Shujo pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Anyway, she had said what she needed to say. She didn't give that old fox for free, so she would naturally help her. This guy wasn't making trouble for no reason, including her intention to sow discord. If she had not sowed discord, Ji Kong and Ji Su would not have held a grudge and sent her to the discipline hall without any questions. She wanted to take this opportunity to stroll around the Zen sect. If she stayed in the tranquil spring, how would she be able to get any information? The reason she chose to come to the discipline hall was also because there were too many people here with too many mouths. She wanted to gather some useful information. Ji Ping's appearance was an accident. However, this fellow quickly analyzed Ji Ping's thoughts based on the information he had obtained previously. That was why he played along with Ji Ping's scheme. With this ruckus, Master Li would more or less accept her favor. Otherwise, those two foolish disciples of his would sooner or later be played to death. As for Master Liao's side, she was not afraid. No matter how weak the Lan family was, they were still a force. She did not believe that Master Liao would really fall out with the Lan family. Moreover, she did not think that Master Liao valued Ji Ping that much. If he did, he would not have allowed Ji Ping to be so arrogant. He probably had other motives. Moreover, the competition for the successor of the Zen sect was intense. They were all eager to see what would happen to Ji Ping. Naturally, someone would speak up for her. Even if she took 10,000 steps back, the previous ones did not work. She still had an ancient Buddhist scripture in her hands. She could use it to save her own life at critical moments. Therefore, this fellow was fearless when acting like a demon. As for the purpose of doing so, firstly, it was to hook up with Master Li, and secondly, it was to stir up the Zen sect so that it would be easier to fish in troubled waters. Master Li nodded and said, Ji Ping, although your intentions are good, almsgiver Yun is after all a guest of our Zen sect. Your attitude is a little inappropriate. Master Li's expression was normal, but Ji Ping was unable to breathe for no reason. He knew that Master Li was releasing pressure on him. Ji Ping was secretly resentful. Why did he fall down just now? Otherwise, he would have already succeeded. Even if this old thing was dissatisfied, he couldn't do anything to him. He weighed the pros and cons. If he were to go to the discipline hall, he might not be able to get any benefits. It would be better to let the Lan family bleed a little. Thinking of this, he said, Senior uncle, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but I was beaten up by Yun Chuzhou. What do you think? Master Li naturally understood Ji Ping's meaning, so he looked at the Lan family's ancestor. Master Lan, what do you think? The Lan family's ancestor glared at Yun Chuzhou. The matter had blown up so much that he would have to compensate Ji Ping with some pills and spirit stones. Chapter 48:17 Has Master gone mad? The old ancestor of the Lan family was about to speak when he heard Yun Chuzhou exclaim, Old ancestor, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, my liver hurts, and the soles of my feet hurt. I must have suffered internal injuries from Ji Ping's anger. Old ancestor, I'm most likely going to die. I can't be filial in front of you anymore. Woo woo, everyone, oh my god, how could there be such a shameless person in this world? And he's going to die. When you were beating people up just now, you were full of vigor and vitality? You're going to die in such a short period of time? The corner of the Lan family's ancestor's mouth twitched, but he still cooperated and said, Little Joe, are you all right? Sigh. Your body is not in good condition to begin with, and you can't stand it. I originally wanted to bring you to the Zen sect to see the world, but I didn't expect to harm you. Hei Xingjiu was secretly happy. This old fox was even more shameless than her. Master Li's face stiffened slightly. The Lan family really had a family background. No wonder that little girl was so random. It turned out that she learned all this from the master of the Lan family. Ji Ping was so angry that he almost died. He was clearly the victim, but now, it seemed that the smelly girl was the victim. He was really angry to death. Master Lan, since Benefactor Yun and Ji Ping are both injured, why don't we forget about this matter? After all, it was just a misunderstanding, Master Li said with a smile. All right, although little Nine is quite angry, she is also in the wrong after all. Let's forget about this matter, the Lan family's old ancestor said with a sigh. Ji Ping, what do you think? Master Li looked at Ji Ping again. Ji Ping was so angry that he was twitching. However, he could tell that no matter how persistent he was, he would not get any benefits. Anyway, there was still plenty of time in the future, and he would have the chance to deal with them again. Therefore, he nodded. Then well do as Marshal Uncle says. The matter was settled. After Master Lei said a few more polite words to the Lan family's patriarch, he arranged for the 3 people to be sent back to the Spring of Tranquility. After Master Lei returned to the meditation room, Ji Kong and Ji Su hurriedly knelt down and admitted their mistakes. Master, we were wrong. Master Lei sighed. He had taught them the method of cultivation, but he had not taught them how to be vicious. This was his negligence. This was also the reason why Master Lei had arranged for them to receive guests. He wanted them to understand more about the ways of the world. Originally, Master Lei did not care too much about this. After all, he did not plan to let his 2 disciples fight for the successor of the sect leader. He just did not expect Ji Ping to have the intention to kill them. Master Lei then thought of the evil Yun Chuzhou. It would be great if his 2 disciples had the little girl's tender heart. However, she probably did all this to sell him a favor. Could it be that she wanted him to reveal some information about her parents? If that was the case, she had made a big mistake. This matter was of great importance, and he would not reveal anything no matter what. Ji Kong and Ji Su could not help but blame themselves even more when they saw Master Lei sighing and sighing without saying anything. Master Lei, we have realized our mistake. We will definitely be careful with our words and actions in the future. Forget it. Get up. Indeed, you should be careful with your words and actions. However, you should also learn from that little girl. Don't be too stubborn. Master Lei saw that Ji Kong and Ji Su were still at a loss. He could not say it too directly, so he could only continue saying, "You 2 go to the quiet spring. If you have nothing to do, chat with that little girl more." Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other. Talk to that female devil more? Has Master gone mad? Chapter 48:18 Buddha Lotus. Although Ji Kong and Ji Su didn't quite understand Master Lei's intention, they still obediently went to the Spring of Tranquility. When they arrived, they saw the female devil sighing. "Little brothers, I was punished by the old ancestor. He said that when I go back, he will lock me up in the forbidden area. Don't you blame yourself? If you didn't capture me to the discipline hall and didn't do it to avenge you, I wouldn't have been punished," Yun Chuzhou said with a sad face. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately looked guilty when they heard that. If the female devil hadn't taken the opportunity to subdue Ji Ping, they wouldn't be standing here now. "Almsgiver Yun, it's our fault." "I'm sorry," Ji Kong said guiltily. Yun Chuzhou waved her hand. Forget it, forget it. If I hadn't insisted on going to the discipline hall, nothing would have happened. If you want to blame someone, blame that Ji Ping. He's really something. By the way, I've never seen Buddhist cultivators fight before. Is the black lotus that Ji Ping condensed very powerful? Ji Kong quickly explained, according to the level of Buddhist power, the color of the lotus condensed is also different. The lowest level is the white lotus, followed by the yellow lotus, the black lotus, the blue lotus, the red lotus, and the golden lotus. Each color is divided into 9 levels. Junior brother Ji Su and I are only at the 7th level of the black Buddha lotus, and Ji Ping is already at the 9th level of the black Buddha lotus. Naturally, he is much more powerful than us. Yun Chuzhou nodded. What level of spiritual power is the black Buddha lotus equivalent to? It's probably not much different from the extreme spiritual power, Ji Kong said. Yun Chuzhou calculated in her heart. In this way, the Zen sect was indeed much more powerful than the Lan family. Ji Kong and the others were a level higher than Lan Luocheng and the others in their generation, not to mention many elders. He Xinjiu thought of the illusory old monk she met in the fallen god abyss. Back then, the old monk had set up some Buddha-like golden lotus array and condensed a golden lotus. In this case, wasn't that Buddha-like golden lotus array very awesome? Yun Shujo closed her eyes and recalled the location of the Buddha lotus. She felt that she had discovered something amazing. If the Buddha lotus were replaced with Buddhist cultivators, it would definitely be a wonderful array formation. However, it was useless to know. She and these Zen sect people were enemies. Naturally, she would not be stupid enough to tell them. Yun Shujo did not say anything for a long time. Ji Kong and Ji Su were puzzled, but they did not know what to say. They could only stand aside foolishly. Yun Shujo came back to her senses and said with a smile, "Although your cultivation level is lower than Ji Ping's, you are younger than him. Sooner or later, you will surpass him." Ji Kong and Ji Su could not help but feel touched when they heard that. This female devil was not too bad. However, Yun Shujo continued, "However, since you are so stupid, I don't think you will live to see that day. Ji Kong, Ji Su, it was better to be fed to the dogs." "Why? Are you not convinced? I'm not trying to hurt you. If you hadn't met me, you would have been played to death by Ji Ping in no time." Yun Shujo curled her lips and said. Ji Su said unconvinced, "What you said is a little too serious. Even if Ji Ping is dissatisfied with us, he didn't do anything before this. As long as we are careful with our words and actions, he won't be able to catch us and do anything to us." Chapter 48:19. The little bell on the wrist. Yun Shujo looked at Ji Su as if she was looking at an idiot. "I can't do anything to you? I'm afraid Ji Ping has already done a lot of things in secret. Otherwise, with the status of a master lay, why didn't anyone stand up for you in the dining hall today? Why didn't anyone send a message to a master lay for you?" Ji Kong and Ji Zu's expressions changed when they heard this. They had not thought of this before, but after hearing what Yun Shujo said, it was true. At that time, there was not even a single person who stood up for them. They thought about it again. It seemed that they did not know since when the disciples who were on good terms with them no longer interacted with them. It was just that they were focused on cultivating Buddhism and did not pay attention to these things. Yun Shujo continued, "Before you knew it, Ji Ping had already isolated you. Only the two of you idiots were kept in the dark, right? Furthermore, it's true that you are cautious in your words and actions. However, if the other party is picky, it's useless no matter how cautious you are. That's because your existence is a threat to some people. Even if you do nothing, you are still a thorn in their side." Ji Kong and Ji Su were obviously shocked by Yun Shujo's words. They stood there in a daze for a long time without saying anything. Yun Shujo did not say anything else. Instead, she was thinking about her next step. She had secretly contracted some spirit bees and spirit butterflies to help her gather information. However, firstly, their levels were too low. Secondly, her parents' affairs were relatively confidential, so she was unable to gather any useful information. It seemed that she could only return empty-handed this time. After all, she had already committed a demon once, so she could not continue. Yun Shujo looked at the stunned Ji Kong and Ji Su and curled the corners of her lips. Fortunately, she had some gains. In a few days, she would be able to close the net. After a long while, Ji Kong and Ji Su finally came to their senses. They seemed very confused. Ji Kong said, "Almsgiver Yun, what you said just now is indeed reasonable, but Buddha said." Yun Shujo interrupted him impatiently, "Don't talk to me about the Buddhist scriptures. Nothing is absolute, just like Buddha didn't let you kill people, right? But your Zen sect has killed fewer people. So, don't be so stubborn. Be more flexible, understand? If you don't want to die, if you don't want your master to be implicated by you, I will teach you a few moves. If you think I'm talking nonsense, just pretend that I didn't say anything." Ji Kong and Ji Su were even more confused. Yun Shujio ignored them and sat at the side to cultivate. The next morning, Ji Kong said to Yun Shujio, "Benefactor Yun, junior brother Ji Su and I have thought it through. Please teach us the flexible way." Ji Kong and Ji Su nodded repeatedly. They had thought about it for the entire night and finally understood. Although Buddha said that they would not fight over it, they could not just sit back and wait for death when there were people fighting over it. When they thought about how their master said that they should chat with the demoness more, their master's original intention was probably to let them learn the path of flexibility from the demoness. Yun Shujio raised her eyebrows. "Teaching is fine, but you can't teach for free. You have to pay some tuition fees." Ji Kong and Ji Zu's hearts sank. This demoness wouldn't be so greedy, right? Yun Shujio covered her mouth and giggled. "Look at how scared you are. I'm just teasing you." Ji Kong and Ji Su were speechless, but Ji Kong was a little stunned when he saw the red rope on Yun Shujio's wrist. Why did the little bell on almsgiver Yun's wrist look familiar? Chapter 48-20. The female devil from 10,000 years ago. Seeing Ji Kong staring at her wrist, Yun Shujio's heart skipped a beat. After leaving the demon territory, the demon sky bell and the wooden fish had not made any movements, so she had forgotten about these two things. It was not that Yun Shujio did not think of breaking the red rope with a big kitchen knife, but she was afraid of breaking the demon sky bell and the wooden fish, so she did not make a move. Judging from Ji Kong's expression, could it be related to the Zen sect? Thinking about it, it made sense. Both of them were related to Buddha, so it might be related to the Zen sect. Fortunately, they had become smaller, so it would not be too troublesome if someone saw them. Yun Shujio deliberately waved her right wrist in front of Ji Kong, and then asked shyly, "Little brother Ji Kong, why are you staring at my wrist? Do you have a crush on me?" Ji Kong was so scared that he sat down on the ground and said in horror, "Patron Yun, be careful. This penniless monk has already become a monk." Ji Kong was very scared. Putting aside the question of whether he should break the rules or not, even if he really had a mortal heart, he would not dare to take a fancy to such a female devil. Yun Shujio curled her lips. "Since you don't have a crush on me, why are you staring at my wrist?" "It's because the little bell on your wrist is very similar to the precious treasure lost by our Zen sect." So, this penniless monk took a few more glances at it. Ji Kong said, "The lost precious treasure? What precious treasure?" Yun Shujio asked curiously. Ji Kong said with a wry smile, "It's called the bitter Zen sect. It said that 10,000 years ago, our Zen sect met a female devil. Our Zen sect was originally called the bitter Zen sect. That female devil said that we were stupid. How could she give herself such a name? Therefore, she forcefully erased the word bitter from the plaque and spread the news that our bitter Zen sect had changed its name to Zen. Since things had come to this, our bitter Zen sect had no choice but to change to Zen. This was nothing. The most outrageous thing was that the female devil also stole two treasures from our Zen sect. One was the daybreak bell, and the other was the sunset wooden fish. Therefore, our Zen sect originally had 5 treasures, but now we only have 3. The detestable thing was that the demoness was still saying that there should only be 3 treasures in Buddhism. If there were 5 treasures, wouldn't that break the rules? She is helping us, so that our Zen sect won't be too grateful to her. Yun Shujio's eyes widened. My goodness, this demoness style really suited her taste. She asked curiously, what happened after that? However, after that, something unexpected happened to that female devil, and her strength was greatly reduced. Our Zen sect tried to capture her everywhere, but she used evil schemes to escape time and time again. Later on, she regained her strength and became the ghost ancestor. There was nothing we could do to her. However, I heard that the ghost ancestor died not long after that. I guess she suffered retribution. You are the one who suffered retribution. Your Zen sect has suffered retribution. Hei Shinjo blurted out. The fellow also finished his sentence and regretted it. He quickly added, I mean, there is always a cause and effect. There must be a reason why your Zen sect was treated like this by that female devil. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dazed for a moment. A moment later, they put their palms together and said, Almsgiver Yun, you are indeed smart. What you said makes sense. We were wrong. Hei Shinjo humbly said a few words before she breathed a sigh of relief. She had almost said something bald. Chapter 48:21 would probably beat her to death, right? Under the cover of her sleeves, Hei Shinjo touched the demon sky bell and the wooden fish on her left and right wrists. It turned out that she was the one who robbed them. The guy suddenly felt a headache. If these monks knew that she was the reincarnation of the ghost ancestor, they would probably beat her to death, right? The guy rolled his eyes and said, since the two treasures were taken by the ghost ancestor, they should be in the ghost domain. I'm afraid that your Zen sect will not be able to find them. Ji Kong sighed and said, yes, our Zen sect has portraits of the breaking dawn bell and the wooden fish in the evening of Shi in all the scriptures halls, hoping to find the treasures. However, it has been 10,000 years, and there has been no news at all. Yun Shujo was secretly happy. Of course, they would not be able to find them. That thing was in the demon realm. To be precise, it was in the black bead. Even if you were exhausted to death, you would not be able to find it. Ji Kong was secretly happy in his heart, but he said, you can't force things. Maybe these two treasures are not related to the Zen sect, which is why they were taken away by that female devil. Ji Kong and Ji Su did not know what to say. They just shook their heads and smiled bitterly, not saying a word. Yun Shujo blinked her eyes and asked curiously, tell me more about that female devil. I am so smart. Maybe I can help you find some clues. Ji Kong shook his head. How could we know so much about what happened 10,000 years ago? I only heard about it from the elders in the clan. However, it is said that the female devil acted recklessly because of her high spiritual power. The worst thing is that it is said that she flirts with beautiful men, cough. 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 Hei Shinjo, who was drinking water, almost choked to death. Although she liked to look at handsome men, she wouldn't go around flirting with them, right? Slander. Blatant slander. It's okay, go on. I was just shocked by this female devil's shamelessness, Hei Shinjo said while coughing. That's all I know. Although that female devil acted recklessly, she still lost her life in the end. Therefore, the only way is to convert to Buddhism. Almsgiver Yun, I see that you have a lot of wisdom, why not? Stop. Stop. I still want to marry and give birth to a little monkey, I'm not going to become a monk. Yun Shujo said angrily. This fellow suddenly remembered that every time she was struck by lightning, she would become bald. Could it be that she had offended a monk in her previous life? So, she was punished? However, she remembered a crucial question and asked, little brother Ji Kong, I'm puzzled. Logically speaking, your Zen sect is so powerful, why can't you do anything to that female devil? Is she that powerful? I don't know. It seems that the female devil appeared out of thin air. She should not be from the Chongshao continent. Almsgiver Yun, let's not talk about that female devil. Please teach me and my junior brother the way of flexibility. Ji Kong said anxiously. Ji Kong and Ji Su immediately said with serious expressions, monks should not talk nonsense. Lying is a cardinal rule. No, absolutely not. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes and said, since you say so, I have nothing to say. I don't care about your affairs anymore. See you later. After saying that, Hei Shinjo skipped away. Ji Kong and Ji Su were at a loss. What should they do? Chapter 48-22. She was the demon ancestor. Hei Shinjo hopped back to the quiet spring. Seeing that the patriarch of the land family and elder Tuo were concentrating on their cultivation, he returned to his cabin. But Face, ask Qi-Ying if he knows about the grudge between the Zen sect and the ghost ancestor. Yun Shujo said with her sole consciousness. After hearing But Face's words, Qi-Ying frowned. I also heard that the Zen sect hates the ghost ancestor to the bone, but I don't know the exact reason. Yun Shujo thought for a while. This was normal. The Zen sect had lost Face, so naturally, they would not go out and make a fuss. She then asked, then tell me about what happened before the ghost ancestor became the ghost ancestor. Qi-Ying said unhappily, how would I know? I'm not an old monster from 10,000 years ago. Anyway, according to your character, you must have been a troublemaker in your previous life. Otherwise, why would the Zen sect hunt you down for no reason? Yun Shujo took his words as a compliment and asked again, do you know where the ghost ancestor came from? Why does she have such a powerful cultivation? I don't know. Let's not talk about this first. When are you going to change my body into a human body? Qi-Ying said impatiently. Yun Shujo snorted coldly, I see that your position in the Divine Devil Hall is not that good. Otherwise, how could you not know anything? You are simply a piece of trash. Qi-Ying was so angry that his rabbit eyes turned even redder. Not much? Purple mask. If it weren't for you, I might have become a protector by now. It's all your fault for ruining my good deed. Qi-Ying said exasperatedly. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes, TSK, so after all this time, you're just a purple mask. I thought you were so powerful. It seems that you have no value left to be used. When we return to the land family, it'll turn you into ashes. Although Yun Shujo said that, her heart sank. According to what she knew, the Divine Devil Hall had black-masked men, silver-masked men, Jin-Mian men, and then purple-masked men. According to Qi-Ying, there were protectors above them? The purple-masked man was already very difficult to deal with, so wouldn't the protector's strength be even more shocking? When she thought of the big hand that once tore through the void, the strength of the Divine Devil Hall Master was probably even more terrifying. Qi-Ying did not know that Yun Shujo was scaring him. He hurriedly said, Yun Shujo, I was joking with you just now. Actually, I know some things about the ghost ancestor. Oh. You are not lying to me, right? What I said is true. It is said that the ghost ancestor had an affair with the Shengzun. Ah, that relationship was born in the Chongshao continent. If you wander around the Chongshao continent more, you might be able to recall the memories of your previous life. Qi-Ying's eyes flashed with a trace of calculation. If this wretched girl had been hiding in the Lan family, the Divine Devil Hall would not be able to deal with her. As long as she went out and wandered around, she might be caught by the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, it was not bad that she had really awakened her memories. Once she found out about the entanglement between her past life and Di Biming, they might turn against each other. She was really looking forward to it. Yun Shujo was so smart. She immediately understood Qi-Ying's meaning, but she did not point it out. Alright, since you still have some value, it'll keep you for now. You'd better be more honest, or else, HMPH. Qi-Ying agreed with a sullen tone. He was secretly hating in his heart. Sooner or later, he would find an opportunity to escape from the control of this wretched girl. With her alone, she still wanted to fight with their master? Dream on. Yun Shujo lowered her head and looked at the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish on her wrist. Since these two things originally belonged to her, then she should be the demon ancestor. She was both the demon ancestor and the demon ancestor. She was really powerful in her previous life, but how did she die? Chapter 48-23. Hei Shinjo thought for a while but could not think of anything. She decided not to think about it. After a while, Ji Kong and Ji Su came to look for her. They expressed their willingness to learn with stiff faces. They were lying through their teeth. You are a promising child. It seems that you can still be saved. Come, your task today is to go out and lie to one person. No matter what, as long as it is a lie, it will be fine, Yun Shujo said with a smile. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked troubled. Go out and lie to others? Amitba, Buddha won't blame them, right? Yun Shujo said with a chuckle, wine and meat go through the intestines. Buddha will keep it in his heart. Why do you have to stick to appearances? This is like killing evil people is doing good deeds. Don't be so stubborn. Ji Kong and Ji Su were stunned. What this female devil said seemed to make sense. However, the two of them were still in a dilemma. Lie? How? They had never done such a difficult thing before. Yun Shujo seemed to have seen through their thoughts. She smiled and said, when you lie, you must first lie to yourself. Only when you believe in yourself can you lie to others. Ji Kong and Ji Su were still confused, but they could only bite the bullet and go out to lie to others. For the next few days, Ji Kong and Ji Su went out to lie to others according to Yun Shuji's instructions. In the beginning, they would blush before they even said anything, not to mention lying to others. After a few times, they became much more natural. Although they could not compare to Hei Shinjo, they were still much better than before. Since they had already broken their commandments, Yun Shujo asked them to do some trivial things, so the two of them were not so conflicted anymore. Therefore, Ji Kong and Ji Su ran further and further away on the road of darkening. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, and Hei Shinjo felt that it was time to reel in the net. Brothers, your mission today is to have a masterly summon me alone, Yun Shujo said with a smile. Ji Kong and Ji Su felt that this mission was too simple. As long as they said that this female devil requested to see them, they believed that their master would see her. However, when they told a master that Yun Shujo requested to see her, Master Lei shook his head. Tell her that I don't have time to see her. Ji Su asked in confusion, Master, why don't you want to see her? I know what to do. You don't have to ask anymore. Leave. Master Lei obviously didn't want to say anything else. Ji Kong and Ji Su were dumbfounded when they left. If the two of them had encountered such a problem before, they would have been helpless. However, their minds were much more flexible now, and they quickly came up with a solution. The two of them entered a Master Lei's meditation room again. Master, Almsgiver Yun said that she has news about the breaking dawn bell. We didn't think she was lying, so we came to report it. Master Lei stood up from the futon. What? Breaking dawn bell? Is what you said true? Ji Kong and Ji Su felt guilty, but they looked confident. Yes, Master. We didn't say it just now because we were afraid that she was lying and you would blame us, so we didn't mention it. Master Lei believed it. He didn't know that his two disciples had been led astray. Alright, call Yun Shujo over immediately. If the master of the Lan family asks, just say that I want to ask about something. There's no need to say anything else. Yes, Master. When Ji Kong and Ji Su came out, their legs suddenly went weak and they almost fell to the ground. They had actually deceived their master. Chapter 4824. Heavy sins. Upon hearing Ji Kong and Ji Su's words, Hei Shinjo had a complicated look on her face. What these two fellows said was not a lie. Not only did she know the whereabouts of the daybreak bell, but it was also on her. This fellow rolled his eyes. She could pin this matter on the divine devil hall and then dog eat dog. She was really too smart. Hence, this fellow happily went to a Master Lei's meditation room. When Master Lei saw Yun Shujo, he could not wait to ask, Benefactor Yun, the two of them said that you know the whereabouts of the breaking dawn bell. Is that true? Yun Shujo nodded. That's right, I do have some clues. Ji Kong and Ji Su, who were at the side, saw Yun Shujo lying without a blush or panting. They were completely impressed. They reckoned that even if they studied for their entire lives, they would not be able to compare to this female devil. Master Lei asked anxiously, "Oh? Benefactor Yun, quickly tell me about it." Yun Shujo smiled and said, "This is an important matter. Can you let Ji Kong and Ji Su go out for a while?" Master Lei did not bother to correct her and immediately chased Ji Kong and Ji Su out. Yun Shujo saw Ji Kong and Ji Su go out and said with a smile, "Master Lei, let's not beat around the bush. I can tell you the clues to the breaking dawn bell, but you have to exchange something for it." Master Lei was stunned at first, then he understood what Yun Shujo meant. He calmed himself down and said, "Do you want to know about your parents? Benefactor Yun, I advise you to put this idea out of your mind. Otherwise, you will get into trouble." Master Lei, those are my biological parents. Even if I get into trouble, I can't just ignore it. I don't have any excessive requests. Even if you let me see them, it's fine. Yun Shujo said with a sorrowful look. Master Lei held the Buddhist beads and sighed. "I can understand your feelings, but the two of them have committed grave sins. I can't do anything about it." Yun Shujo cursed in her heart. "You are the one who has committed grave sins. Your entire family has committed grave sins." She sighed. "Master, since you've said so, I won't force you. I'll go back now." After saying that, Yun Shujo turned around and was about to leave. Master Lei was not willing to let her leave. He gritted his teeth and said, "Wait. Although I can't let you meet, I can tell you some news." Yun Shujo's eyes lit up when she heard that. "What news?" Master Lei's eyes flashed. "Tell me the location of the breaking dawn bell first. I naturally won't misspeak." Yun Shujo was not afraid that the old monk would lie to her, so she said, "I also found out by accident that the people of the Divine Devil Hall found the breaking dawn bell in the ghost realm." Yun Shujo did not say anything either. Sometimes, the more she explained, the more guilty she felt. Master Lei did not seem to be lying when he saw Yun Shujo's magnanimous look. Then, he thought that the ghost ancestor must have taken the breaking dawn bell and Shiwan wooden fish to the ghost realm. The people of the Divine Devil Hall found the breaking dawn bell in the ghost realm. It was not impossible. After a while, Yun Shujo said, "Master Lei, I have told you the whereabouts of the broken dawn bell. Can you tell me the news about my parents?" Master Lei sighed. "Almsgiver Yun, you can rest assured about one thing. Although they cannot leave the Zen sect, their lives are not in danger. You don't need to ask about the rest." Chapter 48-25 Jade Glass Bodhi Seed Hei Shinjo was so angry that she almost died. It was as if he didn't say anything. This old monk was too hateful. "Master Lei, can you tell me what exactly they did wrong?" "Amitba. Their sins are so great that they can't atone for them even after spending their whole lives," Master Lei replied. Yun Shujo finally realized that this old monk was really cunning. He only said a few sentences back and forth. "Is there really no way to make up for it? What if I can help you take back the breaking dawn bell and Shiwan wooden fish?" Master Lei's eyes lit up, but he immediately shook his head. "Even so, we can't release the two of them. Almsgiver Yun, please give up on this idea." Yun Shujo secretly hated these damn monks. "Just you wait. I will destroy the Zen sect sooner or later. Let's see if you will let it go." This guy knew that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of them even if he asked again. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a powerful bell chime. This guy was so scared that he almost sat on the ground. She thought it was the sound of the demon heaven bell on her wrist. After listening carefully, she found that the bell chime came from outside. It was a false alarm. She was scared to death. Master Lei quickly stood up and walked out in a hurry. Benefactor Yun, something big has happened in the sect. You should return to the Spring of Tranquility first. After Master Lei said that, he ordered Ji Kong and Ji Su to send Yun Shujo back to the Spring of Tranquility. Then, they quickly gathered in the square and disappeared in a few flashes. Yun Shujo blinked her eyes. Brothers, let's go. I'll go with you to have a look. Ji Kong and Ji Su wanted to refuse, but after understanding each other for the past few days, they felt that even if they refused, this female devil had 100 ways to make them agree, so they didn't bother. Therefore, the two of them brought Hei Shinjo to the square outside the Great Hall of Heroes. It was the first time that Yun Shujo saw such a magnificent Great Hall of Heroes. The Buddha statues inside were solemn, and even Yun Shujo, who was fearless, had some respect in her heart. Many Zen sect disciples gathered in the square. Several elders and Master Liaowu stood in the grand hall. Hei Shinjo was puzzled. What on earth had happened? Could it be that her parents had been rescued? Yun Shujo stood on her tiptoes and looked into the great hall. When she saw Master Liaowu and the other elders, her face was full of joy. She pursed her lips. It seemed that something good had happened instead of something bad. What on earth was good? Just when this guy was curious, he saw Master Liaowu couldn't hide his joy and said loudly, Amitabha, Buddha, please bless us. The Bodhi seed of the jade glass Bodhi has begun to shed its shell. It is expected to mature this evening. As soon as Master Liaowu finished speaking, everyone immediately exploded. Oh my God, I never thought that I would be able to see a mature jade glass Bodhi seed in my lifetime. Amitabha. It is really Buddha's blessing. It would be great if I was lucky enough to obtain a jade glass Bodhi seed. That's right. Legend has it that the jade glass Bodhi seed chooses its owner automatically. If one were to forcefully pluck it, one would be injured by the Buddha's power contained within. Yun Shujo was confused. Jade glass Bodhi seed? Why did it look like it was very valuable? She looked at Ji Kong, who was equally excited, and asked in a low voice, what is jade glass Bodhi seed? Is it very valuable? Chapter 48-26 was interesting. Ji Kong said excitedly, Almsgiver Yun, you may not know this, but the jade glass Bodhi tree is one of the most important treasures of our Zen sect. It blooms once every 1,000 years and bears fruit once every 1,000 years. However, the timing of this Bodhi seed's ripening is uncertain. It has been bearing fruit for more than 2,000 years, and it is finally about to mature. Yun Shujo was still a little confused. The jade glass Bodhi seed is the fruit of the jade glass Bodhi tree? Yes and no. To be exact, the jade glass Bodhi seed is the core of the jade glass Bodhi fruit. The jade glass Bodhi seed will only mature when the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi fruit fades automatically. Moreover, the jade glass Bodhi seed cannot be picked by itself. It has to take the initiative to recognize its master. It was the lifelong pursuit of all the Zen sect disciples to possess a string of jade glass Bodhi seed beads. However, very few of them could achieve their wishes. Firstly, in the entire Chongshao continent, there was only one jade glass Bodhi tree in the Zen sect. Secondly, it would only mature once every several thousand years. Most importantly, not all the mature jade glass Bodhi seeds would recognize their master. A large portion of them would fall into the soil and turn into nutrients for the jade glass Bodhi seeds. Therefore, this jade glass Bodhi seed is very rare, Ji Kong explained. Why can't you pick it yourself? Yun Shujo asked again. Because the Buddha power contained in the jade glass Bodhi seed is very pure. If you pick it yourself, not only will the jade glass Bodhi seed self-destruct, but the person who picks it will also be injured by the Buddha power. Yun Shujo nodded. This jade glass Bodhi seed had quite a temper. It was quite interesting. While Yun Shujo was thinking about it, she heard Master Liaowu say, "Everyone, wait under the jade glass Bodhi tree. Buddha will cross the fated ones, so whether you can get the jade glass Bodhi seed depends on your good fortune." Everyone immediately cheered and jumped in a direction. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at Yun Shujo with a troubled expression. "Benefactor Yun, let us send you back to the spring of tranquility first." Yun Shujo blinked her eyes. "What if you send me the jade glass Bodhi seed when it matures? Wouldn't you miss out on a great opportunity? I might as well follow you and take a look. I'm not a monk, so I don't think that jade glass Bodhi seed will choose me." Ji Kong and Ji Su hesitated for a moment. To be honest, they were also worried that they would miss the opportunity if they went. They gritted their teeth and said, "All right, then you can come with us, but, I know what you want to say. Don't worry. If a Master Li blames me, they'll just say that I went by myself. I promise I won't implicate you guys." Yun Shujo ran after her as she spoke. Ji Kong and Ji Su looked at each other and smiled bitterly. They had no choice but to follow her. The jade glass Bodhi tree was also at the back of the main peak of the Zen sect. However, it was in a different direction from the tranquil spring. By the time Hei Shinjo arrived, it was already crowded with people. In the middle of the crowd was an ancient tree. Its leaves were as green as the best jade, emitting a lustrous glow. The fruits that had shed their shells were pitch black and lustrous. At a glance, they had the effect of calming one's mind. Everyone's attention was on the jade glass Bodhi tree. Only a few people noticed that Yun Shujo had sneaked in. However, they did not have the time to bother about her now, so Hei Shinjo stood at the back calmly to watch the show. To be honest, this fellow was really not interested in this jade glass Bodhi seed. He just wanted to watch the show. After all, she was not cultivating Buddha energy. This thing was useless to her. It was even worse than melon seeds. At least, it could be eaten. Chapter 48-27, Get Lost. Ji Kong and Ji Su wanted to squeeze to the front, but they could not leave Yun Shujo alone, so they could only stand at the back. Master Lei missed his disciple and wondered why Ji Kong and Ji Su were not back yet. Could it be that the little girl was up to something again? He glanced around the crowd and saw Hei Shinjo looking around in confusion. Master Lei felt a buzzing sound in his head. Why was this little girl here? When he saw Ji Kong and Ji Su beside Yun Shujo, his heart sank. Could it be that they had brought her here? What nonsense. Master Lei walked through the crowd to the front of the three people and said with a slightly gloomy face, "Benefactor Yun, why are you here?" Ji Kong and Ji Su were so scared that they shivered. It's over, this time, they couldn't avoid being punished. Yun Shujo laughed lightly. "Master Lei, what you said is wrong. Didn't sect leader Wu also say it before? The Buddha crossed the fated person, and there was also a saying that all beings are equal. Since we are all the same person, why can't I come here? Perhaps the reason why this jade glass Bodhi tree is mature is because I have entered the Zen sect. Otherwise, it might take a long time before it can shed its shell." Master Lei was choked by this guy's unreasonable arguments. He could only glare at Ji Kong and Ji Su, who were pretending to be quails, and said, "This matter is of great importance. Follow me to see Master Liaowu." Yun Shujo nodded. In fact, this guy did not have to stay here to watch the show. However, these old monks had imprisoned her parents. She liked to go against them. Master Lei led Yun Shujo to the front. Before he could speak to Master Liaowu, Ji Ping shouted, "Master Liaowu! Yun Shujo, how dare you? How dare you intrude into the forbidden area of our Zen sect?" Yun Shujo rolled her eyes. Forbidden area? Where does it say forbidden area? Besides, Master Liaowu and the other elders are here. How dare you speak? Get out of my way. Ji Ping never thought that Yun Shujiao would dare to be so arrogant here. He was stunned for a moment. Master Liaowu frowned and then looked at a master. Master Liaowu, why did you bring Master Yun here? Master Lei secretly complained. How could he bring her here? However, if he denied it, his two stupid disciples would be punished. Therefore, he said to Master Liaowu, Master, Yun Shujiao said that she knows about the breaking dawn bell. That's why I asked Ji Kong and Ji Su to bring her here. Their master was the same. Even though he was clearly lying, he still taught them not to speak nonsense. Fortunately, they met the female devil. Otherwise, wouldn't they have to muddle through the rest of their lives? If an elder knew what these two were thinking, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. He had no choice, all right? If it wasn't for the sake of exonerating them, would he have lied? Master Liaowu was immediately shocked. Is this true? Amitabha, Buddha, bless us. It seems that this is a blessing for us to imprison Yun Fengjin and Yun Shujiao. Yun Shujiao almost choked. This damn old monk actually said such words in front of her. Was he not afraid of being struck to death by heavenly lightning? Boom! A purple heavenly lightning descended from the sky and struck Master Liaowu. Chapter 48:28 struck the old monk, causing him to croak. Master Liaowu's cultivation level was extremely high. Although the incident happened suddenly, he still managed to avoid the lightning and was not struck. Even so, he was still scared out of his wits. All he could do was chant the name of Buddha, Amitabha, Amitabha, as a master had activated the isolation array in advance. Other than a few people, no one else heard the conversation between Master Liaowu and Master Lei. Therefore, everyone was dumbfounded. Why was the master struck by lightning? Yun Shujiao sneered in her heart. Damn it! Damn it! Why didn't I kill you? It would be best if another heavenly lightning struck you. Boom! Another purple heavenly lightning struck towards Master Liaowu. Although Master Liaowu dodged the heavenly lightning once again, he was obviously frightened. His heart was beating fast. What did he do to provoke Tian Dao? Why did he have to be struck to death? Yun Shujia's heart was bursting with joy. Good strike, the old monk cried out. Again. Continue to strike. Strike him to death. Unfortunately, it didn't work this time. There was no heavenly lightning to strike again. Hei Xinjiao was really a little dumbfounded by her jinx skill. At this time, whether it worked or not, what was the difference? She had the heart to mock Master Liaowu. For example, this is what you call a blessing. There will be more blessings in the future. However, thinking that his parents were still locked up by Master Liaowu, it was better not to anger him. Therefore, he blinked and did not say anything. Master Liaowu chanted the name of Buddha a few times before he calmed himself down. He activated the isolation array again and asked, Benefactor Yun, where is the breaking dawn bell? Hei Xinjiao blinked her eyes and said, I will tell you if you let me meet my parents. Sect Master Liaowa's face darkened. Master Yun Fengjin and his wife have committed grave sins. You should stop clinging to this matter. If you can tell me the news of the breaking dawn bell, I will definitely reward you greatly. Yun Shujiao wished that she could slap this old monk who was spouting nonsense to death. Her parents had never been to the Chongshao continent before, so how could they have committed grave sins? This old monk must be spouting nonsense. However, she finally understood that the Zen sect was determined not to let go of her parents. They didn't even allow her to see them. How hateful. Of course. Our Zen sect only imprisoned the two of them. We treat them like distinguished guests and won't mistreat them, said Master Liaowu. Seeing that Master Liaowu didn't seem to be lying, Yun Shujiao felt a little relieved. As long as her parents were safe, she would find a way to save them sooner or later. Then, she said, I also heard that the godly devil palace found the breaking dawn bell in the ghost territory by chance. I'm not sure whether it's true or not. Hei Shinjo was proud of herself. After all, she had only heard about it. She wouldn't be afraid even if the Zen sect wanted to settle the score with her. Although Master Liaowu was a bit suspicious, he still said, regardless of whether the information is accurate or not, I have to thank you, Master Yun. Yun Shujo blinked her eyes and said, there's no need to thank me. Let me stay here and watch the show. I haven't seen the process of the jade glass Bodhi seed maturing. Master Liaowu felt that it was not a big deal for her to stay here and watch. Even if the jade glass Bodhi seed acknowledged its master, it would still choose to cultivate Buddhist power as a Zen sect disciple. It was impossible for it to choose Yun Shujo. Therefore, he revealed a rare smile and said, of course, almsgiver Yun, please go ahead. Chapter 48-29. Hei Shinjo picking up the outer shell. Yun Shujo saw that Master Liaowu had agreed, so she simply stayed where she was. This place was the closest to the jade glass Bodhi tree, and it was perfect for watching a show. Ji Ping saw that not only did Master Liaowu not chase Yun Shujo away, but he also let her occupy such a good position, so he was very angry. It was not that he had not thought of dealing with Yun Shujo these days, but Yun Shujo had been cultivating in the quiet spring, so he could not find a chance at all. However, the most important thing now was the jade glass Bodhi seed. As for this bitch, she had plenty of opportunities to deal with her. At this moment, the sound of the jade glass Bodhi seed's outer shell exploding increased, and the outer shell also splashed everywhere. Hei Shinjo curiously picked up one of the outer shells and looked at it. The outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed was also black, but compared to the lustrous jade glass Bodhi seed, this outer shell was really ordinary. Hei Shinjo rolled her eyes. Since the jade glass Bodhi seed was so valuable, this outer shell might also be useful. Therefore, this guy began to shamelessly collect the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed into his storage ring. Master Lei said speechlessly, almsgiver Yun, the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed is useless. Why did you pick it up? Keep it for the fire. The outer shell is small and doesn't take up much space. It's much better than firewood. Hei Shinjo said with a smile. Master Lei shook his head and didn't say anything else. The outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed was useless. She could keep it if she wanted to. Therefore, the members of the Zen sect entered Yun Shujo and gathered around the jade glass Bodhi tree to pick up the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed like a diligent bee. Ji Ping said with disdain, Yun Shujo, are you out of your mind? You even picked up the outer shell of the jade glass Bodhi seed. Yun Shujo didn't even look at him. She couldn't be bothered with such an idiot. An hour later, someone exclaimed, look! The jade glass Bodhi seed is ripe. The crowd looked in the direction the person was pointing at and saw a pitch-black jade glass Bodhi seed had left the jade glass Bodhi tree and was dancing around it. Yun Shujo curiously asked Ji Kong, who was standing beside her, Ji Kong, why is that jade Bodhi seed not choosing its owner? Why is it wandering around there? Ji Kong was speechless. After every jade Bodhi seed leaves the tree, it will circle around the jade Bodhi tree a few times before choosing its owner. I think it's because it's reluctant to part with it. Yun Shujo nodded and thought to herself, this jade Bodhi seed does have a conscience. The jade glass Bodhi seed finally stopped circling around the jade glass Bodhi tree. Instead, it began to circle above the crowd, as if it was choosing its master. The Zen sect people all tried their best to attract the jade glass Bodhi seed. Some chanted Buddhist names, some chanted sutras, and some took out wooden fish to strike. In short, they all hoped that they would be favored by this jade glass Bodhi seed. However, the jade glass Bodhi seed kept circling in the air and didn't seem to have any intention of choosing a master. At this time, the sky had completely darkened, and the glowing jade glass Bodhi seeds were like stars. Seeing that the jade glass Bodhi seeds had not chosen a master for a long time, the people of the Zen sect could not help but become anxious. A disciple could not hold back the greed in his heart. He jumped up and reached out to grab the nearest jade glass Bodhi seed. Chapter 48:30. A few large bumps appeared on his forehead almost at the moment when the Zen sect disciple's hand touched the jade glass Bodhi seed. The jade glass Bodhi seed burst into black flames, and the disciple fell to the ground with a scream. The crowd suddenly became chaotic. A master lay came forward to check and shook his head. Although his life is safe, his cultivation base has been destroyed by more than half. You can't force him to do anything. You must take this as a warning. The crowd did not dare to act rashly. They could only hope that these jade glass Bodhi seeds would take the initiative to acknowledge them as their master. Ji Ping's eyes were filled with greed. However, when he saw the miserable state of that disciple, he gave up the idea of taking the initiative to attack. He prayed in his heart that the jade glass Bodhi seed would choose him. At this moment, a jade glass Bodhi seed flew towards him. Ji Ping was overjoyed. He looked at the jade glass Bodhi seed anxiously. If he was the first to be recognized as the master of the jade glass Bodhi seed, it would be very beneficial for him to fight for the position of the sect leader's successor. However, he did not expect that when the jade glass Bodhi seed saw him approaching, it flew away again. It must have just been flying. Yun Shujo could not help but burst into laughter when she saw this. This jade glass Bodhi seed was really naughty. Ji Ping was already very upset that he did not get what he wanted. Now that he heard Yun Shuji's laughter, he immediately vented his anger. Yun Shujo, what are you laughing at? Maybe it's because an outsider like you is present, that's why these jade glass Bodhi seeds haven't chosen a master yet. Ji Ping's words immediately resonated with some people. They felt that Ji Ping's words made sense and immediately became noisy. Yes, it's because you snuck in that the jade glass Bodhi seed didn't recognize you as its master. Leave quickly. Leave quickly. Sect master, quickly let this Yun Shujo leave. Otherwise, if we delay any longer, the jade glass Bodhi seed will give up on recognizing you as its master. That's right, sect master, quickly chase her away. It's now or never. If we miss this chance, we still don't know when the jade glass Bodhi seed will mature again. Master Liaowu was also a little suspicious after hearing everyone's clamor. He said to Yun Shujo in a deep voice, Benefactor Yun, the current situation is special. You should quickly leave this place and return to the Spring of Tranquility. Yun Shujo cursed in her heart. Did these damn monks have nowhere to hide? They were actually still clinging to her? What did this have to do with her? However, this guy didn't want to arouse public anger, so he said obediently, all right, I'll leave now. The crowd couldn't wait for this guy to leave quickly, so they made a path for Hei Shinjo to walk out unsteadily. At this moment, Hei Shinjo felt something hit the back of her head. She cursed angrily, who the fuck set me up? Before she could turn around to look, she saw several jade glass Bodhi seeds rushing towards her. While she was in a daze, a few large bumps appeared on her forehead. Hei Shinjo was dumbfounded. Did these jade glass Bodhi seeds want to smash her to death? How did she provoke them? What's wrong with her? Her first reaction was to run. Therefore, Hei Shinjo ran in front, followed by a string of jade glass Bodhi seeds. Why are you chasing me? I'm not a Buddhist cultivator. There are so many monks here. Go and find them. Get lost. Get lost. I'm not interested in you. If you hit me again, I'll be rude to you. I'll cut you into pieces with lightning. Chapter 48:31. Hei Shinjo with a big iron pot. Hei Xinjia's words were obviously of no use to those jade glass Bodhi seeds. More and more jade glass Bodhi seeds began to surround Hei Shinjo. The spiritual energy barrier that Hei Shinjo had set up was useless. Those jade glass Bodhi seeds crashed into Hei Xinjia's body. Fortunately, these jade glass Bodhi seeds did not self-destruct and attack Yunchujo with Buddhist power. Instead, they crashed into Hei Xinjia's body like pebbles. Hei Shinjo was so angry that she was twitching. However, she could not do anything about these jade glass Bodhi seeds. She could only shout, "Master Liaowu, Master Lei, save me." Master Liaowu and the others were already dumbfounded. What had happened was beyond their understanding. Were those jade glass Bodhi seeds crazy? Why did they surround Yunchujo? Now that they heard Hei Xinjia's cry for help, they could only stare at her with their eyes wide open. What could they do? These jade glass Bodhi seeds contained the power of Buddha. They couldn't be touched, and they couldn't do anything about it. Hei Shinjo didn't come over to help when she saw that Master Liaowu and the others looked as if they were dead. In a moment of desperation, she took out the big iron pot and put it on her head. Then, she squatted on the ground and did whatever she wanted. Everyone from the Zen sect was dumbfounded as they watched the jade glass Bodhi seeds smashing towards the big iron pot one after another. It was as if they would not stop until they smashed Yunchujo out. Hei Shinjo was hiding in the big iron pot. When she heard the ding-dong sounds outside, she was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Indeed, there were no good things in the Zen sect. Even the jade glass Bodhi seeds were against her. She was puzzled. How did she provoke these damn jade glass Bodhi seeds? Did the ghost ancestor do anything to provoke the jade glass Bodhi tree other than abducting the demon sky bell and the wooden fish? Other than that, she could not figure out why these jade glass Bodhi seeds were targeting her so much. She had seen a ghost. Hei Shinjo opened a crack in the big iron pot and shouted, "Hey, I'm warning you. If you hit me again, I won't hold back. My thunder is not a joke." The sound of the collision grew louder and louder in response. Hei Shinjo was so angry that she was twitching and shouting, "Are you monks all dead? Don't you care about these damn things? Come and get these damn things away." The Zen sect disciples were so angry that they almost died. Did she think that they did not want these jade glass Bodhi seeds? The main thing was that these jade glass Bodhi seeds had gone crazy and surrounded her. What could they do? Hei Shinjo looked at the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish on her wrist and tried to communicate with them with her spiritual sense. No matter what, they were friends with the jade glass Bodhi tree. Maybe they could make these damn things let her go. Unfortunately, the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish did not have any reaction, so Hei Shinjo had to give up on this idea. She could not hide in the big metal pot forever. How could she escape? The guy gritted his teeth. To catch a thief, one must first catch the leader. Although the jade glass Bodhi seeds had already left the tree, she did not believe that they would ignore the life and death of the jade glass Bodhi tree. Therefore, she rushed towards the jade glass Bodhi tree with the big black pot. "Get the fuck away from me, or I will burn your mother to ashes." Hei Shinjo put away the big black pot and said fiercely. The jade glass Bodhi seeds stopped a few feet away from Yunchujo. However, Hei Shinjo did not know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the jade glass Bodhi seeds were not afraid, but proud. Chapter 48-32. This was her good fortune. Just as Hei Shinjo was feeling suspicious, the branches of the jade glass Bodhi tree suddenly grew and bound Hei Shinjo tightly. Hei Shinjo wailed, "Help! This tree demon has turned into a spirit." Master Liaowu and the others were dumbfounded. Although they knew that the jade glass Bodhi tree was not an ordinary object, this was the first time they had seen it hurt someone. However, it was also Yunchujia's fault. If she had not used the jade glass Bodhi tree to threaten the jade glass Bodhi tree, she would not have ended up like this. Sect leader Lei Wu put his palms together and said, Master Liao Wu, the jade glass Bodhi tree is the holy tree of our sect. There is no reason for us to attack it. Everything has a cause and effect. Everything is caused by your actions, so there is nothing we can do to help. He Xinjiu was almost angered to death. This old bald donkey was simply heartless. What did she do? She was also forced by those jade glass Bodhi seeds, alright? It was better to beg others than to beg oneself. Since they did not help, then don't blame her for being ruthless. Although Yun Shujiu was tied up tightly, this did not prevent her from releasing the small flame in her right hand. She thought very simply, fire conquers wood, burn it to death. However, the small flame did not jump out. The emotions that were transmitted to her were somewhat helpless and fearful. He Xinjiu was so angry. It was another free meal. At this moment, more and more Bodhi tree branches were wrapping around Yun Shujiu's body. Those jade Bodhi seeds were flying around happily, obviously gloating over her misfortune. He Xinjiu was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. Could it be that she had turned this damned jade Bodhi tree into a bald lady in her previous life? Did she have to hate her so much? At this moment, there was a commotion behind the crowd. It turned out that the Lan family's patriarch and elder Tua had arrived. When those jade glass Bodhi seeds were chasing after Yun Shujiu, Master Lei had felt that something was amiss, so he sent a message to the Lan family's patriarch. When He Xinjiu saw the Lan family's patriarch, it was the first time she felt that this old fox was so friendly. She shouted at the top of her voice, Patriarch, help! Help! When the old ancestor of the Lan family saw He Xinjiu tied up tightly by the branches of the jade glass Bodhi tree, he felt as if his heart was going to explode. But he couldn't ignore it. After all, this little girl was still useful. The old ancestor of the Lan family walked to Master Liao Wu and said, Master Liao Wu, what? What's going on? Can you save little Jiu first? Master Liao Wu shook his head and said, Master Lan, you know that the jade glass Bodhi tree is the holy tree of our Zen sect. We can't desecrate the holy tree, so there's nothing we can do. Besides, almsgiver Yun came here on her own initiative, which means that everything was arranged by Buddha. It's her fortune that she is valued by the jade glass Bodhi tree. If He Xinjiu had not taken her parents into consideration, she would have scolded this old bald donkey to the point of making a fuss. Blessing? Why don't you fucking try being tied up by this damn tree? The Lan family's patriarch sighed, Master Liao Wu, although that's the case, little Jiu is not a member of your sect. There must be a misunderstanding. If it's not convenient for you to take action, I'll take action. Master Liao Wu shook his head again. This is her personal karma. Master Lan, don't force it. The ancestor of the Lan family looked at Yun Shujiu with some embarrassment. Even if he tried to force it, he was still no match for the Zen sect. It seemed that this troublemaker would die in the Zen sect today. Chapter 48-33. The Tree of No Mercy. He Xinjiu saw the look in the eyes of the old ancestor of the Lan family and cursed in her heart. That damned old fox, he gave up just like that? He was really cold-blooded. This fellow calculated in her heart that she still had a trump card, and that was the ancient Buddhist scripture. If she used this as a condition, she should be able to save her without that old bald donkey. However, if that was the case, she would be too sullen. Could it be that she could not defeat a tree? Therefore, the guy blinked his eyes and snorted coldly. I heard that Buddha achieved enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree is the embodiment of wisdom and holiness in the hearts of the people. But now, you are targeting me for no reason. Don't you feel a little embarrassed? Hearing that, the jade Bodhi tree did not release Yun Shujiu. Instead, it tightened its branches. The jade Bodhi seeds crashed into He Xinjiu's face with ill intentions. He Xinjiu could imagine that if those jade glass Bodhi seeds landed on her face, she would definitely turn into a pig's head. Stop right there. Otherwise, I won't hold back anymore. Hei Shinjo shouted. The crowd did not think much of it. It was obvious that her spiritual power had been restrained. What else could she do? Especially Ji Ping, his face was full of schadenfreude. He deserved it. He deserved it. This wretched girl was dead for sure. Hei Shinjo had no other choice. In a moment of desperation, she bit down on a branch of the jade glass Bodhi tree. This fellow had been forced into such a desperate situation that he had made such a move. However, to her surprise, she felt a refreshing and sweet juice in her mouth. This fellow felt that it was too damn delicious. Therefore, this fellow did not care about the jade glass Bodhi seeds anymore. Instead, he began to suck the juice from the branch of the jade glass Bodhi tree with all his might. The thick trunk of the jade glass Bodhi tree shook violently, and the jade glass Bodhi seeds that were gloating became restless. In an instant, the branches that were bitten by Yunchujo withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Hei Shinjo was about to continue, but she was thrown away by the jade glass Bodhi tree. Hei Shinjo rubbed her buttocks that were hurt from the fall and said with her hands on her hips, "Come on. Continue to tie me up. I won't drink you to death." The guy pointed at the flying jade glass Bodhi seeds and said fiercely, "If you bump into me again, I will turn your mother into dried wood." The jade glass Bodhi seeds suddenly trembled and surrounded the jade glass Bodhi tree, not daring to approach Yunchujo. She was too bold. Wasn't she afraid that the sap of the jade glass Bodhi tree would be poisoned to death? However, it seemed that the sap was not poisoned. Otherwise, the wretched girl would not be so lively. While everyone was thinking, they heard Hei Shinjo say, "Humph. I have always been unreasonable. Although I don't know what kind of madness you have drawn to provoke me, you have tormented me for nothing. Kneel down and admit your mistake or compensate me. Otherwise, would rather drink you to death today. Everyone, kneel. Are you sure? How could a tree kneel?" Sect Master Liaowu stopped Hei Shinjo, who was about to charge at the jade glass Bodhi tree, with a stiff face. "Master Yun, since you have escaped, let's forget about this matter." Hei Shinjo wished that she could slap this old monk to death. What did he do just now? Now he knew how to settle the matter peacefully. How shameless. Chapter 48-34, The Shell. Hei Shinjo blinked. "Master Liaowu, didn't you say that everything was arranged by the Buddha? Since it was arranged by the Buddha and my personal karma, please don't stop me." Master Liaowu blushed. This little girl was using his words to shut him up. How tricky. Ji Ping said in exasperation, "Yunchujo, you are too presumptuous. This is the Zen sect, not the Lan family. Does my master have to listen to you?" Yunchujo glanced at him. "Get lost. You unruly thing. Do you even have the right to speak here?" Ji Ping was immediately enraged. "Stupid girl, you are courting death." TSK, Master Liaowu, did you hear that?" He actually cursed. He broke the rules. Hei Shinjo gloated. Master Liaowu frowned. "Ji Ping, don't be rude. Why aren't you stepping down?" Ji Ping was furious, but he did not dare to disobey Master Liaowu's orders. He could only glare at Yunchujo fiercely before retreating to the back. Master Liaowu was about to continue persuading Yunchujo when he heard Yunchujo say, "Forget it. A kind person like me won't fight with a broken tree. Let's put this matter behind us. Ancestor, let's go back to the spring of tranquility." Although Hei Shinjo said so, she was gritting her teeth in her heart. A wise man would not take advantage of the situation. When she took care of the Zen sect in the future, she would take care of the broken tree as well. When the time came, she would tear off all its leaves and make it bald. Then, she would write Wang Ba Shu on its trunk, infuriating it to death. Master Liaowu was concerned about the selection of the jade glass Bodhi seeds master. Therefore, he said a few words perfunctorily, indicating that Yun Chuzhou and the 3 ancestors of the Lan family could leave now. However, what everyone did not expect was that the jade glass Bodhi seeds were dancing in front of Yun Chuzhou and the other 2. He Xinzhou snorted coldly, "Little dregs, I'm not going to argue with you anymore, but you still dare to provoke me? Do you have to make me drink your mother into dry wood?" The jade glass Bodhi seeds were no longer as arrogant as before. They flew around restlessly, not letting Yun Chuzhou and the other 2 continue to move forward. Yun Chuzhou could only look at Master Liaowu. "Master Liaowu, these little dregs won't let me go. What do you think?" Master Liaowu couldn't put it into words. He also couldn't understand why these jade glass Bodhi seeds had to compete with Yun Chuzhou. Was it because she wasn't a member of the Zen sect? That wasn't right. He had never seen these jade glass Bodhi seeds compete with the master of the Lan family. Yun Chuzhou frowned. Didn't those shells say that they were useless? Master Lei said with a wry smile, "I'm just guessing. Almsgiver Yun, why don't you give it a try?" Yun Chuzhou curled her lips and immediately threw a handful of fruit shells in front of the jade glass Bodhi seeds. "A bunch of misers. I'll return them to you." To He Xinjia's bewilderment, the shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds disappeared almost instantly after they landed on the ground. Thinking that his eyes were playing tricks on him, he grabbed another handful and threw it on the ground. The outer shells also disappeared in an instant. Master Lei said as if he had realized something, I remember now. It is said that every time the jade glass Bodhi seeds recognize their master, there will be nothing left on the ground. Presumably, these outer shells will eventually turn into nutrients for the jade glass Bodhi tree. That's why these jade glass Bodhi seeds are targeting benefactor Yun. Chapter 48-35 Bodhi Original Treeless Yun Chuzhou frowned. Although what Master Lei said made sense, she felt that these little dregs and the dead tree were definitely not targeting her just for this reason. Was it really because she had done something interesting in her previous life? While He Xinzhou was deep in thought, Master Liaowu said, "Almsgiver Yun, since you have found the reason, take out the outer shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds. I believe that these jade glass Bodhi seeds will not be entangled with you anymore." He Xinzhou really wanted to extort the old monk, but after thinking for a while, she realized that she could not bear to mess up the big plan. Therefore, she reluctantly began to throw the outer shells of the jade glass Bodhi seeds out. While throwing them out, the old monk mumbled, "Little dregs, I'll return them to you. I've never seen such a stingy tree before. Since you can't bear to let others pick them up, make the shells disappear immediately if you have the ability. I've already picked them up, and now you want them from me. Do you still want the face of a tree? At first, I was too lazy to argue with a dead tree like you. Since you are so stingy, I can only expose your true colors. Bodhi has no tree to begin with. Bodhi has always been invisible. How dare you call a broken tree a Bodhi tree? I think you are a scammer. Shameless." As soon as Yun Chuzhou finished her words, not only did the jade glass Bodhi seeds instantly turn into nothingness, even the jade glass Bodhi tree gradually turned into a shadow and disappeared. Everyone was shocked by this unexpected turn of events. What happened? Why did the jade glass Bodhi tree and the jade glass Bodhi seeds suddenly disappear? Could it be that they were scolded by Yun Chuzhou and ran away? He Xinzhou was also very confused. She was just casually spouting nonsense and wanted to vent her anger, but who would have thought that she would give it, scold it, and disappear? These monks wouldn't let her pay for it, right? She was so poor that she couldn't afford to pay for it. This fellow felt that he should strike first to gain the upper hand, so he coughed dryly and said, "That tree probably felt that it was too ashamed to see me, so it hid underground. In a few days, when I leave, it will grow back. The jade glass Bodhi tree was a precious treasure of the Zen sect, and now it was scolded and disappeared by her. Did she want to let it go just like that? No way. The ancestor of the Lan family felt his head buzzing. He complained in his heart, this troublemaker. Why didn't she just take out her outer shell obediently? Why did she have to show off that the Bodhi tree doesn't exist? Now that the jade glass Bodhi tree of the Zen sect has been destroyed, there will definitely be trouble. If he had known that this fellow was so capable of causing trouble, he would not have brought her to the Zen sect no matter what. He was so regretful that his intestines turned green. Ji Ping had been holding back his anger before. Now that he finally had the chance to add insult to injury, he naturally would not let it go. He sneered and said, Yun Shujo, don't quibble. You shouldn't have kept the outer shell of those jade glass Bodhi seeds. If it weren't for your poverty and mischief, nothing would have happened later, so you wouldn't be able to escape the blame. The jade glass Bodhi tree is the most precious treasure of our Zen sect. Even if you die 10 times, it won't be enough to erase your sins. The other Zen sect members echoed Ji Ping's words, you're right. If it weren't for her, we might have already been recognized as master by the jade glass Bodhi tree. Exactly. It's all because of this troublemaker. Now, not only is the jade glass Bodhi tree gone, even the jade glass Bodhi tree has disappeared. Our Zen sect will no longer have the jade glass Bodhi tree. Kill her. Kill her. Chapter 48-36. I will change it back for you. Master Liaowu ignored the noise of these people and walked to the original place where the jade glass Bodhi tree was growing. He looked at it again and again and found that it was no different from the surrounding open space, as if the jade glass Bodhi tree had never grown before. Master Liaowu said with a trembling voice, Amitba, I am a sinner of the Zen sect. The treasure of the Zen sect has disappeared just like that. The people of the Zen sect had their eyes bloodshot as they denounced Hei Shinjo loudly. If Hei Shinjo hadn't hid behind the ancestor of the Lan family shamelessly, she would have been torn to pieces long ago. Hei Shinjo poked her head out and said with a twitch of her lips, you are all scammers. What does it have to do with me if that broken tree is gone? If I had the ability, I would have said that all of you are gone. The people of the Zen sect were furious. How could it not have anything to do with you? Anyone with eyes could tell that the disappearance of the jade glass Bodhi tree was definitely related to the few words that this stinky girl had cursed. Moreover, if she had not shamelessly picked up the outer shell of those jade glass Bodhi seeds, there would not have been any subsequent incidents. Therefore, she was the main culprit behind the disappearance of the jade glass Bodhi tree. Only then did Master Liaowu look at Yun Shujo. His face was so gloomy that it was frightening. Benefactor Yun, the jade glass Bodhi tree went missing because of you. You can either compensate us with a jade glass Bodhi tree right now, or you can stay in the Changming Hall of the Zen sect and be a lamp keeper. Hei Shinjo was overjoyed. She was just about to find an excuse to stay in the Zen sect. It was not bad to be a lamp keeper. The ancestor of the Lan family seemed to have read his mind. He lowered his voice and said, the lamp keepers of the Zen sect have always been dead. Yun Shujo, damn that damn old bald donkey. He said it out loud if he wanted her life. He even had a lamp keeper. How shameless. To be honest, the old man was also dumbfounded. She did not know why the damn jade glass Bodhi tree suddenly disappeared. Was it really because of what she said, there is no Bodhi tree in the first place? This fellow weighed the pros and cons in her heart. The ancestor of the Lan family definitely wouldn't fall out with the Zen sect for her. She could only save herself. Although that ancient Buddhist scripture was precious, it definitely couldn't be compared to that jade glass Bodhi tree. Even if she took it out, she would probably only be able to barely keep her little life. The outcome wouldn't be any better. Of course, she could still use the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish to save her life. But first, she couldn't explain why she established a contract with the two things. Secondly, now that the demon sky bell and the little wooden fish had become like this, even if she said it out loud, Master Liaowu would not believe that these were the original daybreak bell and 11 wooden fish. This fellow thought for a long time but could not think of any solution. He decided to stall for time first. Although Master Liaowu did not believe his nonsense, he still felt a bit lucky, so he did not say anything. Hei Shinjo gestured a few times as if it was a serious matter, and then muttered, "Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Heaven Spirit, Earth Spirit, hurry up and show yourself, little Bodhi." Master Liaowu was so angry that he almost died. What a mess. This fellow was talking about Spirit of Heaven, Spirit of Earth, hurry up and show yourself. This was clearly a Taoist, okay? You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.